That's it. I need to.
I was watching a Netflix documentary earlier about, which is funny because obviously social media is my job.
Mm-hmm.
But I was watching a documentary earlier on Netflix about social media, and just how it's changing people and society and the dangers of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I get it, but this is also my job. So
Yep. But that's like new technologies. There's a good side and a bad side, so to speak.
Well,
Yeah.
I got to say, it's awesome because it makes people easier to manipulate, and I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's great. That's what it was about.
And Will, you are on the manipulating side right now, so.
That's right. I'm a dungeon master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not. Hello, April. I'm Will. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay. Oh, cool.
I do now. Although I saw on the Instagram, we friended each other up, so we got it there because we're going to be on the same show. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All I really post on Instagram is party. So.
I'm all over the place with Wicked Gaming Studios on Instagram. Is that you?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm Giant Stomp.
But yeah, but the other part was Wicked Gaming Studios also.
Yes. Wicked Studios. They're not on Instagram though. I just have it on Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, there is a Wicked Gaming Studios. Okay.
So Will,
let's put it this way: Wicked Studios is a pretty prevalent name, so I don't encourage you googling it necessarily.
I'll go in and I'll search for people, and some people have different names across different social platforms, because obviously Twitter, you can only have this many characters in your name.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how Giant Stomp even came about. It was one of the first one on the Twitter. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna put. And that just popped into my head and put it down, and so there you go. I've been trying to do some rebranding, get back to make Giant Stomp a little bit more prevalent. So, although I've been told that, what would they say that I wanted me to start doing? Adam and all that said, "Oh, Giant Stomp, no, you can't do that. That's not you." Blah blah blah. So I said, "Oh, shut up." No.
Why not? You can
I know, right? I forget what they said they wanted to do.
get a cool graphic.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Rename
Welcome.
this gentleman to his appropriate title, which is not Ann Carlson.
There we go. Yeah.
Ultra extraordinaire. Good, how's everyone doing?
Good. Yep.
Good, that's
Wow.
wow.
Oh, so it's an on-air opening. Oh,
Wow.
no.
I'm sorry for your loss, but what a legacy.
Yep.
We're looking for down soon.
And he had a self-proclaimed Kickstarter addiction, so there was a lot of fun stuff that came that way. Yeah.
Okay, I came ready to roll here.
Now I'm regretting that I got just a cherry Coke. Now I'm like,
Yep. Just have water. This is not fair.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday.
Yep.
Amen. I got my brew.
I'm shaking because I've had too much coffee today. I probably shouldn't be having a cherry Coke because the caffeine, because I've had way too much.
Yeah. Caffeine does absolutely nothing to me. I used to own a coffee shop. I think it did to something.
You immune. Yep.
Yeah, I'm immune to the effects. I could drink a pot of coffee and go right
Yep.
to bed. It doesn't affect me.
Yep.
I used to be like that.
Look at all that terrain. Whoa.
Yep.
Wow.
That cathedral was good. So you need to get each one of these, Jay, and then have an adventure revolve around. Did you need to get each one of these and then have an adventure revolved around it?
Oh, yeah.
Like the cathedral, you need to get the cathedral. We'd like to see that. Whatever this building is
Like
here.
Jay
that's
doesn't.
kind of cool.
Yeah. Jay doesn't have enough pressure to put all this stuff. Yep.
I know. That's why I said it.
I'm so excited about the Kickstarter. Sorry.
Oh, that's cool. I just want to get it to play with. Yeah. Of course.
What are we talking about tonight?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Sounds
Oh,
spectacular.
Anne and April and William.
Hi, Stefan.
Hey, done.
yeah, but it's,
Yes.
yep.
Modifius Entertainment. It's like,
Modifius. Yep.
yeah, I know. But everyone's the same way.
He was
Back
frozen
again.
for a
Was.
second there.
Was?
Oh, now you froze in that right spot
What?
there. That's perfect. Yep.
He keeps
Yeah.
freezing.
Oh no. Weird.
Wow, a shaky
I can
connection maybe. Or...
Yeah, something. We'll see. Yep.
What did Chuck do now?
Well, it's what he didn't do. Yeah.
He owes me 4. So there you go. We can get live.
He's been lazy lately.
Well, he did like majorly clean his back. So
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, he had to clean and hobble around a bit. So yeah, so we have to give him some black hair. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
This camp. Woo! It's Japanese. What is it? I think it is
Oh, I
Ichiban.
love Ichiban.
Great, Ichiban. Yes, I get it by the case. I got a special deal with my guy at the store. Call him up. Tony, get me another case.
I wish I had that. God damn. Just
I mean, I paid for it. I paid
Oh,
for
okay.
it. It's a bit of a discount. We give it case. good thing.
You're gonna give away that. How many more you got left? From the initial
Yeah,
lot that
I
you
was just
bought.
gonna say, it might be hard to get them.
You can't tell me. You don't have to tell me exactly how many you have. But I know you said you bought you had lots that you got, right? So you had gotten a lot of them. No, you have some.
Hello?
Okay.
Maybe not.
We
Hello?
have.
I know.
Silence has been cast.
Uh-oh.
That was me. That was my G jerk to go do stuff.
Silence have been cast.
Is
They
this
could
on-
hear, they can hear the other. They, at least they seem to be hearing us. Yeah. Oh,
everyone-
okay. They can hear us, but they can't hear you, Jay. It's the same problem he had a little while ago, I think. Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't crash things.
Yeah,
I
we'll see.
tried.
Can you
I
hear me
tried
now?
Listening.
Bueller?
Yep. We can hear
Bueller?
you. No, we hear you.
Bueller?
We'll see. Yeah. The
Bye.
problem is that there's a 10-second delay. So
Okay, I'm good.
Yes.
Thanks.
I just
Oh, yeah.
posted this on Facebook.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Stefan,
Yep.
for doing that, sharing that. So,
Am I coming through clear
yes.
now?
Everyone's everyone's clear. Can you hear everyone? Let me boost the sound just a hair. I just want to make sure we can hear everyone because I'm usually super loud.
yeah.
Good?
Well, your mic is a little bit away from your mouth, I think. So.
How's that better? Good.
Well,
Are we good
well,
now?
I think so.
Audience,
Testing,
we good?
testing.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Testing.
No, Jay messed up. I did something. I didn't. So switching from system to system, I had my Samsung Saturday morning set because I had my headset on when Tim was playing. So I had it set to that, and that's off. That was my fault. So good evening, everyone. All right, so I'm J.A. Kaylor Gazumba. Our 11th DM's Roundtable discussion. We have some great guests tonight. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have a good time. Plus, we're going to do some celebration. Plus, I may have a touching moment. Maybe, we'll see. Let's introduce our guests. Wow, thanks, Troy. Let's start with ladies first. And let's start so we don't get April all up worried about going first. So Anna, welcome, and talk about who
Hello.
you are and
Well,
how great
yeah.
you are.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, but so I'm Anna B. Meyer, and I do fantasy maps, and I'm often maybe I'm always here. I live here, so to speak, on the Nordic Simba channel. But normally I do maps, mostly Greyhawk maps, but then a bunch of other maps too. So yeah.
So Anna Meyer, my partner in crime and co-host for most things. And Anna's been on. Have you been on every DM's Roundtable except the very first
Yeah, I
one?
think so. Yeah, I think I'm from the second
Yeah.
one. So Will beat me to it by 1 year. So.
Yeah,
By one.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And well, Anna, welcome and thank you for. Anna will
Thank
be
you.
co-hosting with me for the most part on this discussion. April played on a great Saturday night special game last week and is back. So tell us a little about yourself, April, please.
Okay, my name's April Hill. You can find me on socials, stiletto_assassin on Instagram, stiletto DM on Twitter. I am the community manager for Modifius Entertainment. We make games that we're known mostly for 2D20 games like Fallout, Dune, Star Trek Adventures, stuff like that. I also stream and am one of the community organizers for the Initiative Order. We play a variety of games. We believe in diversity and inclusion, and we have community games every month. We have some, or the May games just posted, and I'm going to be running My Little Pony this month, and there's still a few spots available. So
That
that's a
is
lot of fun.
very cool. Welcome back, and everyone said how great you were in that game last Saturday, and I really appreciate you coming back for this great, for fun discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, this next gentleman needs no introduction, and I'm not talking about Will.
Of course.
Yeah. Stefan Picorni, the founder, creator, owner of Dwarven Forge. Welcome, Stefan.
Hello.
Tell everyone about yourself as far as DMing goes. Yes, cheers.
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 It's Sunday over here. I don't know where you guys are, but
Oh, it's Sunday here too. I'm in
the
California.
squirrels.
So Stefan is got a soft heart just like I do for old school D&D. And that discussion, I think, will go this direction a little bit more, and we will see in the talk. But Stefan, thank you for coming on, and I can't wait to delve deep into some questions with you. It's going to be a fun one. Now, this other gentleman doesn't need any introduction as well because he's been on the most Gabbins besides Anna, and that's William Henry Dvorak. Will, welcome.
Have I been on the most Gabbins besides Anna?
Yes.
I find that hard to believe.
No, you've only missed like 3. Yeah.
Well,
you were on the first one. You were on the first
You
one.
mean DM's Roundtables?
Yeah, I mean DM's Roundtables. My bad.
Okay,
Yes.
I was about to say.
Yes.
There's a lot of other folks
DM's
that are-
Roundtables
Hey!
is what I mean. Yeah.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Will Dvorak, aka Giant Stomp. See, I got to start doing it that way. I think you know what you're doing. On the social medias, I also have, since we're talking about content creation, I am also the lead writer at Wicked Studios. But I'm the only writer, so I guess that makes it pretty easy to be the lead. I also have a blog called the Greyhawk Companion where I do a bunch of stuff there. And you want me to plug, do my shameless plug now?
Sure.
Or wait, okay, excellent. So I currently have a Kickstarter going on. It's called Ravensbrook, the Blackwing City of Bandits and Brigands. It is a system agnostic, although it does have 1E, 2E, and 5th edition stat blocks for some monsters that are in there. It is as you could tell, it's a dark, grim dark setting. It is inspired by Rook Roost from the Greyhawk setting. So there's the Greyhawk connection, and it's on right now. And I think we're at only $123.
Yeah, we just checked it. Yeah, that's fantastic for your goal.
From it, so pretty much we're going to hit goal, of course, but then. We're looking at the stretch goals, and the first stretch goals would be 10 unique magical items that are going to be included in the Ravensbrook book. So
that is fantastic. Can't wait to get a hold of that. And please, Antiquitous Alex linked it, so there it is. Check it out, take a look at it. I'm going to set the giveaway up, and the first one we're going to do, and hopefully we'll have more than just one, is every 1,000 followers we give away something, a real publication. It's not a reprint. I've done it 7 previous times. I'll do it all the way through 10,000. That's my favorite publication of all time, Best of Dragon Volume 3. You like? Yes, this is a real one. Yep, real Best of Dragon Volume 3.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got some great. Things from Leonard in here. Wonderful. The Wing Folk, all sorts of all the points of view by Roger Moore in here. So it's
I love that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful publication. So please, it's set to go, and we may add some other stuff as we go in the evening. So here's my first question. I always start this one off because we're going to talk about content creation. Tell us your style of, and we'll keep this to the DM genre, or Pathfinder Castle Crusade genre to start. Tell us your style of play, how you DM. Like, is it old school 2E, 5E, and then you've table theater of the mind or tabletop, and who inspired you early on in your as a DM? Who wants to take that one up first? Who gave you the inspiration?
I'll
go for it, Will.
But you're gonna have to go down that laundry list again so I can get all the points. Of course, the #1 inspiration for me is a Dungeon Master's Jay. No suck up points. All right.
I did not know you were going to say that. Cheers on that one. Cheers on that one.
As far as you know what, I can't pin down any one person as far as inspiration to be a DM. My inspiration comes in little bits and pieces that I learned from a number of different DMs over the course of role playing now for 40 years. So there you go. That's with that. As far as my style, I am 100% the king of improv DMing. 100%. I do basic notes. I do basic outlines, and that a lot of times too, I get a lot. It's like, oh, what was that monster? It's like, I just made it up. You know, I do a lot of reskinning. So basically, you'll see lots of monsters that might have a familiarity to it, but I totally changed it. So I did that in the last episode of Ruinous and Ravensrook, where I had a fog type monster that I based on. Basically, it's sort of like a shade, but that was all of had a certain idea. But yeah, totally improv. I love improv more than any other form of DMing.
What game system are you using now?
Oh, you know me, Jay. I'm you can't pin me down. Currently, Ruinous and Ravensrook is being run in the Castles and Crusades. We're using that. Trollord Games is sponsoring the Ruinous and Ravensrook game, and I like it. I gotta say, if you like old school, if you're a 1E, 2E kind of guy, definitely I would. But you like some of the more modern mechanics and whatnot. I definitely go and give that a look. That's pretty good. And then I have to say my favorite D&D though. My favorite D&D is Scruffy Grognard's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 3rd Edition. I pump that all the time.
Interesting.
Go in and Google it. You can get it for free.
It's cool. Yep.
Hands down, my favorite rendition. It is meeting of new mechanics with the old mechanics into the perfect love child, the perfect D&D.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So there you go.
So, Stefan, you and I have never talked like this, but as far as background, but I'm assuming you and I, we're both probably in our 50s, and we probably have DM'd a long time. Who'd you get your initial inspiration from?
Oh, wow. I think I started playing D&D at like 10 years old,
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm 55 now.
Oh, we're same age. Okay, cool.
Yeah, look at that. Happy birthday.
That was in March.
To Steven, we need like a round of shots.
Exactly. It's a mystery. So, describe your style to everyone there, Stefan.
Gosh, well, so I learned at summer camp there was a counselor, an archery counselor who named Doug, who I don't know whatever happened to him. I would love to somehow meet him again to see what he did, you know. Say, listen, you introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and that you should see me now, you know.
Yeah.
Playing with the Gygaxes, you know,
Yeah.
like it's crazy. I pinch myself. So I you know, I have to say my inspiration, first of all, he taught me, so that was the initial inspiration. Then but you know, the words of Gary Gygax, you know, was the main inspiration for me. You know, reading the Dungeon Master Guide when I was young, it was easy to read. You know, it was like a magical tome, paging through that volume and reading all these things. And, you know, there are like little nuggets here and there. And people say, you know, well, it wasn't laid out that great or whatever, but I didn't mind it, because it was like you would discover these amazing things. You would turn the page and be like, ooh, look at this chart. You know, you would just happen upon it, you know, you'd be like, oh, this says that, you know, a catapult does this damage and it costs this much to build a stone wall, and and your mind would get creative and be like, oh, I want to build a castle. It was just a wonderful book that way, that you didn't know what you were going to come across. And I felt that that's what a magic book should be like.
Stefan,
you know?
like in the middle of the book, there's a potion miscibility table, right? Smack dab in the middle of the book, right? Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, these can explode inside you. I mean, there's great stuff all throughout that book.
You would just come across these random things in the book, you know? And I don't know, that was, and I never stopped playing first edition, AD&D.
Yep.
And I never felt the need for, like, I know it's sort of the mechanics are a little crude, but I don't mind. I don't want that much mechanics. I just roll a 20, you hit or you miss, that's it. Next, what are you going to do? I don't need to have a dozen different things to do every round. I think that slows the game down. And I think the beauty of the game for me, I mean, everyone, whatever floats your boat, play whatever edition you want. But for me, it's like, I like to talk to the people. I like to interact with one another. I don't want people crunching numbers or rolling a million dice. I just roll, you hit, you miss, and then just describe what you do. And I'll make something up that's colorful to see what happens. And that's the storytelling part of the game, which I think is what makes D&D so much fun. Yep. Is that you weave a yarn together, you tell the story together, and you make up stuff. Say, hey, what do you do? And I go here and I do that and I do this, and the less mechanics, the more you have to describe. And so that's how I like it. And that's why I like first edition.
So on the planet, think about all the other DMs, and no two DMs are alike, but Stefan's probably the closest person on the planet to me. Mm-hmm. Old school. I'm 1E2E hybrid. Tabletop, right? We have great large setups. We use miniatures and terrain, right? And we play that old school descriptive, style. And so we're probably you're probably the most similar DM that I can think of that I know personally, which is really interesting.
I played Theater of the Mind, for my whole career, basically. Well, career, it wasn't a career. I was just having fun as a teenager, right?
Right.
Theater of the Mind, I only started Dwarven Forge 25 years ago.
Only, yep.
Before that, it was all Theater of the Mind. So I really enjoy that part.
Well, you had a mat, and you probably used your dry erase markers on the mat, right? And you had some really crappy figures on the mat that weren't painted, right? I mean, that's what we did back then when we were in college or high school.
Did the 1-inch graph paper.
Yeah.
We had the little miniatures, and I started painting the miniatures, and I started playing with this guy, Jim, who is now, I call him Stat Tracker Jim, because he created this company, Stat Trackers, for 5th edition. He was my dungeon master.
That's cool.
And he was painting up the little figures, and so I got back into painting the figures. And then I got sad because I was like, I have all these beautiful orc armies and all these figures, but I have to put them on graph paper.
Yeah.
What can we do? How can we fix this? And because I was a sculptor, I said, well, first I started off with cardboard dungeons. I built cardboard passageways, but they were very flimsy. And then I was like, you know what? I just gonna go all the way in, and I'm gonna sculpt something nice and cast it. And then I had this idea. The entrepreneur came up and I was like, you know what? I bet other people would like this too. And then that's how Dwarven Forge got born. Was the need, the necessity, the needing to have something to put your little miniatures that were getting. So Sandra Garrity and Tom Myers are collecting all these incredible miniatures and painting with beautiful details. Like, we need the terrain to match this.
Absolutely. I got some of your stuff. I got your works that I use, scrolling it right now after everyone's logos down in the lower left-hand corner. I'll show some blow-ups of that down the road. But yes, oh yeah, absolutely. Because, that's what we love to be known for is miniatures and terrain. You put it great, Stefan. That was fantastic on about the style. Really appreciate it. I've always wanted to ask you that question, because I figured we're very close together. So April, I'd say the youngest of the DMs here, right?
I'm no spring chicken, but I guess I am at the table today. Yeah.
Style and inspiration. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I kind of share what everyone said kind of so far. My style is I love a good balance. It really depends on what group I'm playing with and if I'm playing on stream or off stream, but I like a good balance of RP and combat. I'm not a fan of Theater of the Mind. I'm just not. I'm just not, because I can be very calculated. I want to know I hate having to ask if I'm playing in a Theater of the Mind game, and how far away am I? And how far away am I? Because I like to plan ahead. Like, I can't stand it.
So you loved last Saturday night then?
Yes, because I'm a very And I love when I DM or GM. I love real minis. I love real terrain. I craft my own terrain. I buy sets. I paint my minis and all that good stuff. But I also play virtually on Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, Tabletop Simulator. I have a mix of everything. Just depends on who I'm playing with and what I need. So, but as far as other than that, like my DM style and how I craft my stories is, I have a general little idea of the overall story that I want to tell with the group. And other than that, I just read I read what backstories they give me and what's interesting about their characters. And I build my story around them and how I can interlock them and weave them together to make them a stronger, cohesive group, so that they feel like their character is important and seen. And the story is about them. And I just have an overall leading them to like the end of the story that I want to get to. So, and everybody really enjoys that.
Absolutely. And you do a lot of variety content, all TTRPG, but it's a lot of different things. I mean, you had a Fallout game, right?
Yes.
You know? So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
I hear that's a video game, right?
We have the license for that. And of course, Skyrim. We have Elder Scrolls Call to Arms, which is a skirmish miniatures war game. But we're coming out with a board game for it as well. We just finished our Game Found, which is like Kickstarter,
right,
but mainly for gaming.
That's awesome.
Back in November
I played Skyrim.
Yes.
I'm replaying it for the fourth time. I'm a completionist. I've done every single everything.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm on my fourth playthrough. I'm like, it's for work. It's for work.
It's research.
Yeah.
The best Modupius game is Conan, though. You keep leaving Conan out of the loop.
Yeah, Conan. It's a big one. We've had that one for a while. So yeah,
it's actually really, really pretty. I mean, the art in that is really spectacular. If you're not a Conan fan, you probably will be after you flip through the book. It's good stuff.
Robert E. Howard was a huge influence on me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one of the things that got
Robert
me
E.
into
Howard.
reading.
Yep. We had that age group that
Fritz Lieber.
That was not much else back then.
Well, back in the day, you had some like for me, and I couldn't find it because we got that new floor and all the DVDs above the TV got put in a box. I couldn't find it, and I know Stefan watched this when we were kids, the Night Stalker, right, the TV show with Darren McGavin, when he had the zombies. And that started for me. It scared the crap out of me when I was 7 years old. Darren McGavin, the guy from he's been in 100 things. The father from Christmas Story, right? Yeah, he was a reporter, and he'd go get certain monsters. And the one that scared me the most was the Rakshasa episode when I was like 7, and that's my favorite D&D monster. Yeah, if you can find it, Stefan.
Go to YouTube.
Yeah,
put it in.
You completely missed this.
Yeah,
show.
It's kind of cheesy now, but it's funny. Yeah, the Night Stalker. Yeah, it's from 74, 75. 2 seasons.
Well, they think everything is cheesy now. Everything from the 70s, 80s is cheesy now.
Yep.
True. But
a cheesy world.
But
we didn't know better back then. So
it's funny because Josh Whedon from Buffy, he loved that show too, and that's kind of where he got his inspiration from. And I go back and I'm like, wow, that was just such a wonderful thing, even back in the day. So, all right, so
it's had a revival recently too, because they've done a comic book of it. There's been a couple of recent things that have come out for it.
People don't realize this a lot about me. I was not really a big nerd when I was a kid. I wasn't a geek or nerd. I was out on the streets. I was in New York. I was a New Yorker, and they just let me loose. My parents let me loose out on the streets. So I was always outside,
right,
skateboarding, getting into trouble, growing up, but once in a while I would stay in the house, and when I did, I played Dungeons and Dragons. It was the only thing that interested me to do inside, and then other 95% of the time I was outside, going on actual adventures.
Yeah.
In the streets of New York.
You were like a Warriors guy, right? Because that was that era, 79.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the 70s and 80s in New York. It was such an exciting city. You didn't want to ever miss anything, you know? You wanted to go out, meet your friends, and go out into the city, get into trouble.
Excellent.
You know?
Well,
All of that came back into the game. You used all those experiences to create what I created, my city of Valoria, which is sort of like a Dungeons and Dragons version of New York.
so that's where we go for this next question: content creation. So Stefan started off on tell us about your campaign setting.
Oh, well, I mean, I just created a world. You know, I loved creating stuff, and because the Gary Gygax said in the Dungeon Master's Guide, you know, here are the tools. Whatever, I forget his exact words, but here are the tools to create your world. And that's what I thought we should do.
Yep.
I never bought any modules or anything. I just started immediately. I had a fantastical mind, so I immediately started drawing all kinds of stuff, and it was very, very crude at first. You know, like everyone does, just there's be a city and a forest, and here I'll draw a little skull over here. That'll be a dungeon. And then I had a little map, and I had one skull here, two skulls here, three skulls there, and I'd be like, so this is the easy dungeon. There's one skull, and the harder dungeon. And a sandbox. You know, like, where do you want to go?
I love that.
Yeah. Like, you don't want to go to that the hills over there. You know, that's bad news. You better get up and level. So you start easy. And you just get, you know,
it grew
little by little. Huh?
It grew and grew and grew. So you
just grew and grew. And then I kept redoing it. I said, this sucks. You get to like, when you're 15 and you're old, you're 15, you're like, that's garbage. You're going to redo this. You're going to redraw it. And then when you're like 21, you're like, oh my God, that was horrible. Redraw it again.
Do it again, yeah.
Yeah. And so just every version got bigger and hopefully better,
but it was the same world. It was the same world though. So you built on it. So you go back as like my campaign's 42 years old. So yours is almost the same.
Yeah. That's the joy of these games is you get to create your own. You know, and Anna knows me. You love maps.
Oh yeah, I've been. So I simply fell in love with Greyhawk because that was the one that was available to me, and I just moved in and started visualizing it, what it looks like, and started reading everything and kept doing it. Then I ran my own Greyhawk campaign, but I haven't been as consistent over the years because it's been on and off, back and forth. But it's been I haven't gotten as many years forward in the story, but I definitely run my own version of Greyhawk and evolve it and kind of, and I'm a world building DM, so to speak. It's world simulation, world building, and that's kind of key to it, and the stories, and then I let the characters loose in it. So very sandboxy, very world building, creation heavy type of gameplay. The rules are kind of sorry.
I don't know much about the Greyhawk. Are you free to like create your own stuff in the
well, you can there's everything. I played in Greyhawk's games where they even took out Greyhawk City and still called it Greyhawk. So there's some Greyhawk, they simply, I like the map, and then they just like the names and just run with it. I've seen people do that. So you can be as much or as less true. I try to be there true to a large extent to what's there, but I like to fill in on top of it, so to speak. So I like the challenge of turning lemons into lemonade. And so when Carl Sargent kind of screw things up, in my opinion, I kind of like to untangle it and bring it back to what I like. So I like that challenge as a world builder. I don't like to build from scratch. I want to have a seed from someone and then put on top of it, so to speak. I'm more of an analyst. That used to be my job, part of it, to understand the world rather than creating it. And I kind of like that, to bring that into my DNA. I want to have the basic idea, and I like to read a description, and then I don't like that part, but it needs to be part of the foundation, and then I kind of tweak it and work with it. So that's
So Stefan, Anna, Will, and myself are all Greyhawk DMs. Greyhawk campaigners.
Yep.
That's the original Gygax world.
So we made our own versions of it, so to speak. Our own version of the campaign setting.
So I'm like Anna is when I go into a park. I go and I start writing up a bunch of different stuff. That's how this whole, not to plug again, but that's how the
Please.
Kickstarter started. Because what I did was on my blog, I had like a series essentially of blog posts was all about Rook Roost. And basically this was the information that when I ran the original campaign, Return to the Bandit Kingdoms, when I was streaming regularly, I sit down and I'm like, okay, and then I write tons of material. And then it's like, and it never gets used, but I have all this material. I was like, well, I can do something with this. And I start putting it on the blog. And then after on the blog, I was like, well, I can expand on this more. And then that's one thing led to the next. I did the same thing with what Mateus turned into the Bone March companion.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the material that I wrote up when I was doing my the Bone March campaign. It was the same thing. I'm just sitting down. It's like, okay, well, let's start creating.
That's it. And so everyone, please, Will's $123 away last time we checked from reaching his goal. So Alex, if you could link that one more time, let's get that tonight, please. Okay, to get him over that $3,000 goal, so he makes it and doesn't have to worry anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So please do that.
Yeah,
so
we want to hear all the stretch goals at the end of the show.
Yes, stretch goals beyond that.
Go.
So thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, let's get him across the finish line. So April, you go all over the place. So
I do.
yeah, which is good though. That's good. So tell us a little about some things you've maybe created or how your process.
Yeah, I'm very similar to what Anna just said. I like to take stuff. So you all have been playing in Greyhawks in my home game, not the one that I DM right now. Well, we rotate DMs for our home game. Now there's 3 of us, but right now we're playing in Eberron.
Cool.
But I really like Faerun, so that's my fate. Like I like playing in Faerun. So, but with Fallout, what I liked was, I mean, there's all this lore behind Fallout, right? There's all these video games for Fallout and settings. One of the places that they haven't touched in Fallout is Texas, not canon anyway. There's the Brotherhood of Steel game that came out, but it's not technically part of the series, so it's thrown out there. So they haven't touched Texas, and I'm from Texas, so I'm like, okay, well, what would have happened had they? Okay, what would have happened had? I mean, I probably have been tracked by the FBI because of this. I went through and did simulations for. Oh yeah, there's simulations that you can do on nuclear fallout blasts.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Where the fallout would eventually be. So I was going on there. I was running simulations, deciding where I wanted impact sites to be, where I thought big groups would start to emerge, and what their personalities would be. Like obviously, I had Dallas Cowboys, who were a raider group, who wore bits and pieces.
You need to install the Tor browser when you Google for that. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble.
Yeah. So it was so I was like, you know what, this is gonna be fun. I want to play in a place where I'm comfortable, where I'm familiar, and I was like, I'm going to take Texas and make it my own, and it was a lot of fun. I kept some of the names of some of the cities, and I changed some of them, just like within Fallout. Like there's Las Vegas that became New Vegas, and places like that. So GC. I did the same for Texas. I changed those things, and so yeah, I like to take stuff that's already there and tweak it. And I did the same thing for when I've been playing in Faerun. Is I have this Night Circus books that I read heavily influence my writing and my role building and storytelling. So one of the books that I read was the Night Circus. Absolutely loved it. It was such a beautiful book. And I ended up making a Night Circus campaign setting, and my players loved it. It was a lot of fun. And it was before the Witchlight book came out. And I was like, I think I talked a little bit too much about my circus setting. And
they ripped me off, man.
Hey, I love the Witchlight book, so it's all good. I'm fine with that. It was a lot of fun. So yeah. So
I'm going to ask. No, you're good. That was great.
Very animated when I talk.
It's okay, and that's the thing. You know, let's have as much fun as possible with this discussion here. Who I Will may answered this one before. I'm going to stick it to the living people. If someone you have or have not, you can play D&D with anyone. Who would you want to play with? Who you haven't yet, or maybe you have already?
Me?
At her live?
Open. Who wants to take it first?
Well, I can say I've said that like 3-4 times on this show, and I
Say
want
it
to
again,
play in
Anna.
one of Stefan's games.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
on my
There you go.
on my bucket list to do.
Yep.
And I played in some amazing games, including and with amazing DMs, and I can really say I've hit quite a bit of stardom in games that I played with, so to speak, and including Jay and Jason Bullman and a whole bunch of other cool DMs. So Stefan is definitely on my bucket list to do, so to speak.
That's-
So,
But
Yeah.
you play Zoom? Do you do Zoom games?
well, yeah, that too. That's
I
my
have to
normal way
get
of
you.
doing.
Yeah.
I
Anna,
get you in as a
Yeah.
guest.
Thank
to,
you.
Uh,
Yep. Mhm.
one of our next
Yep.
Zoom games. you
Okay,
know?
awesome. Yeah, so that's
But
something
you have
that
to play first edition though.
Oh,
I-
Anna plays in my
I-
game.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
I'm
she's
kind of
fine.
a
She's
reformed
fine.
old school. I love old school. I have 1 foot in old
Awesome.
school and 1 foot in new school, so to speak.
Yep.
So yeah, mhm.
What kind of character do you like to play?
I like to be nowadays. I
Rangers.
like to go all of it. Rangers is my favorite. But I played so many, so I can play almost anything nowadays. I think I played in Gnome Sorceress. I never thought it would be fun, and it was actually one of my most fun characters I've ever played. So yeah, so I'd
Wow.
like to now. I like to surprise myself at times. So, yeah.
Wow.
So Stefan, I have a game that plays every 2 to 3 months, and the name of the group, you'll like the name of the group, is 2 Drink Minimum.
Yep.
Okay, and it's
Well, that
Anna,
sounds like my kind of
Yeah.
campaign, you
What-
know?
Anna,
Yep.
Ed Greenwood. This is Greyhawk. Eric Boyd, Eric Mengi, Tony Winslow Brill, and one special guest every time. So down the road, Stefan will get you in a game with Ed
Wow.
Greenwood. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Ah.
it's a great game and it's so
Yeah.
much fun.
old
Yep.
school. So yeah, it's
So we
fun.
could have. Do you on your, this round table? Like, can we do a game on this site? What you have here?
Oh my God, I do games
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah, down there. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
Well,
stream.
I could run a game. I could run
You
a
could-
game.
yeah,
for all of
absolutely.
You guys, I could run a game right here on your.
Absolutely, Stefan. Absolutely.
Let's
'Cause-
set that up.
yeah,
Yep.
definitely. We could do that.
Mhm.
That would be great.
Yep.
We have a fun time.
All
That'd be awesome. All
right.
I'll be in touch with you and Ann, and we'll
Great.
set something up for a Saturday night
Yep.
special where you're DMing for
Yep.
everyone. That'll be
Oh,
awesome.
that will be fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
I could even set the
That'd be
terrain up
fun.
in my end. Yep, absolutely. So, Will, how about you?
Now
You
you
want-
said live?
Someone who's alive.
Ah, man. Okay, then the guys from the Glass Cannon.
Okay.
I want
Glass
to go
Cannon
on
Network?
there. I want to go on the Glass Cannon Network and play with those guys. I think they're
Oh,
a holler.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. As
Who are the-
far as-
Yeah, go ahead.
is that who you want to get?
No, I
with
was just
there,
saying,
Phil?
who would you be if it was deceased? Obviously, you had someone in mind.
Oh yeah, man. It's the same as it always is. It's Robin Williams.
Okay.
Hands down.
Yeah, Robin Williams. Yeah.
Robin Williams would have
Did
been
Robin play?
amazing. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he
he was
was
a
a-
gamer. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was huge on World of Warcraft, and when he passed away, they put a shrine
Yeah.
to him in the world there too. Yeah,
Yeah, I knew about the World of Warcraft, but I didn't know about like they
Yeah.
play TTRPG. Oh, I love that because his daughter's name and all. Yeah, I knew he was a gamer, but I didn't know he was into tabletop. That's so cool.
Tabletop. He did D&D.
yeah, man.
But did he DM?
Oh God,
That,
can you imagine
He would probably been an amazing DM as far as I'm
the
concerned.
best? Like how?
right?
No one would ever get anywhere because it would be laughing. Oh my God.
That would have been awesome. So, April.
Oh, I have a whole bucket list of people that I would love to eventually play with because I mean there's so many people out there now. Tabletop is just it's blowing up. So and just getting to see all of these streamers that I just look up to. And I've played with a lot of really wonderful people, but I have a long bucket list. One of the ones I was so close to playing in a game with, obviously Luke Gygax. So close to getting to play. He was going to be my we were going to be in this tournament to play PvP level 20 5e, and he was going to be my partner. I had secured him as my partner, and we were going to pair up in this tournament. And then last minute, a lot of stuff fell through, not on his side, on the tournament side. And I was like, no.
Luke's great.
He's in my campaign.
Same here. He's in both of ours.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
the son of Melf or Smelf Eliador is in my game too, and he jumps in and during fundraisers and special events, and he's played in the So maybe we can make that happen for you, April.
Oh God, I would
Yeah,
die.
that'd be really.
When you set this game up here,
Well,
I
ask
can
Luke to
run
hop
the
in.
game. I invite Luke on, and he can.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It would be a
Invite him.
fantastic event. So, Stefan, how about you? Because you play with almost everyone you've wanted to. I'm assuming there's a couple out there you haven't.
I've been blessed. Like, I've even played with the critter overlord,
Matt Mercer.
Matt Mercer.
Yeah.
The Gygaxes, Ernie, Luke, everyone. But I'll be honest with you. I don't really like to play.
You like to dance?
I don't like to play. I like to run the game. I do it because I feel I get invited, and sometimes it's charity games or it's some important thing that I can't say no to, and I do it. And sometimes I play 5th edition, which I don't really like. It takes too long. I feel like everything is super pumped up. Like you can't die. It's like it's for me. It's taking out the danger out of the whole thing. I don't know. I mean, people enjoy it. I don't want to say it's whatever edition you like, But for me, I'm used to the danger, and I just feel like everyone's turn takes too long, so I end up falling asleep. I just want things to go faster.
Yeah. I know the feeling.
Like swing, miss. Okay, next.
Yeah.
And that comes with the games I run are always at conventions. So I have like 10 or 12 or 15 people. And if I were to play 5th, it would take like 2 hours for one combat round,
My home group we're 8 with including the dungeon master. We have 8. And
imagine
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Combat is like 2 sessions.
Yeah.
There would be a whole combat would be a whole night, right? One combat.
Yeah. That's what it ends up being.
I
love it.
See that's some people enjoy that, and they like to scrutinize all the little. They like to. See, I feel like for me, that's more of an on paper thing. Where you when you create your character, you're like, oh, I can do this and that, and then if I do this and that, and you can totally get into this whole deep delve into your character and all the abilities. But then when you get into the game and everyone has that deep delve of it, everything lasts forever. And for me, I believe is not conducive to gameplay. It's great for fantasizing and creating a character and all these wonderful powers. And it's great all the hours you may spend at home min-maxing your character. But, I go to convention, I hand out pre-made sheets, and they're very simple. And so the players, they just have to make something up and dream something up of the character as they play. And it's not a statistic. It's more like a personality. It's like... So that's where I like more the role-playing aspect in that regard. And plus, it's best if people don't get too attached to their character.
Your game, yeah. Or an honest game.
The character develops. You create the character through many games and through experiences that happen.
Yeah.
Then you develop a personality and a backstory for your character. In the way I do it, you don't make it ahead of time. And then you get to the table and they die in 5 minutes later. Oh my God, I spent 2 hours making this character's backstory. No, the original D&D, the way you played it when I was a teenager, was like, you don't know anything about this character. But now that you're playing, you can start to make up stuff as you go along. You may get ideas along the way and say, I'm going to say that. So I say, where do you come from? Some of the NPCs, where do you come from? And they go, oh my God, I better make something up,
No, you're right.
As you play, things that happen to you. You might have your leg cut off, and you're, oh yeah, now I'm like one-legged, John of one leg or something. You make up something. You create as it goes along. That's the joy for me of the group experience of creating it all.
So,
I'm
Stephanie,
sorry, I talked.
no, this is great. No,
this
no,
is
we
great.
can run late tonight too. Trust me, this is great. So, in my game, and April just made up a character a couple weeks ago for a really fantastic fire elementalist character, an elven fire elementalist, and we only put certain backgrounds like name, where you're from, and other things. I want to, and then fill it in from that point. And that's kind of the 1E, 2E old school style. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's like I've always said. I've said this 100,000 times. No two DMs are on the planet are identical. Everyone has their own unique style, and that's what's really cool about D&D. You know, and we're a little different here and there with everything. And I just you know.
And I realized
Kinda.
I have something in common with Stefan. I don't run modules either. I never run modules. I always run my own stuff, so to speak, my own
You
thing.
make your own dungeons?
Oh yeah, I make my own dungeons. I make my own. Occasionally, when we go into places that are already made, like if I would run in a village of Hamlet, I will look at the village of Hamlet, all the houses, and use the maps and some of the inhabitants and stuff. But I will make my own stories from it, so to speak. I always do. I don't run modules as intended. I never had. With the Hamlet is oh yeah, Hamlet has been the only exception. I ran it back in the day. Now I ran it once, and now we can't come back to it. So that would never happen again, so to speak, in my campaign. We've been back to Hamlet several times, but then some people have NPCs have died, and new ones have come there, and the situation is new, so to speak. So I always create my own stuff.
Now, how detailed do you do it? Like mine are usually just like scribbles. You know, I mean, like, there's Stefan,
you don't ask that question.
Yeah,
the map. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm a chronic over prepper. So that's my first name, so to speak. It's over prepping. Yeah.
I do homebrew, but I
something here.
Homebrew stuff, but I like going into a module and then changing the things. It's like, oh, well, this has to be like this or like that.
Yeah.
And then change it through the play.
Yeah,
you know?
But also I don't have a story. I never know how not even my session will end, so to speak. So there is no story. Exactly, it's just sandbox. This is the premises when I send the character, when the characters arrive, and then we just go from there. Everything from the start of the session is improv, so to speak. It's just, but I have all the participants. I know who lives there, and I know their stat blocks and stuff too. Not down to perfect, so to speak, but I try to model everything and have everything kind of sketched up and stuff.
Here's
in the area
that I would like to talk about, because I noticed this an awful while.
One second. Well, let's see what is that, like original notes, Stefan? From how old's that?
This was just from the other day.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow. See, that's what I'll draw.
Yep.
That would be the. But of course, I build it with the terrain.
Of course.
Yeah.
You have to have terrain.
Yeah. Nowadays, I got it, and then these little monsters.
Yeah. And I do the same thing. Back in the day, I sketched like that. Now I do it digitally, so to speak. So I sketch it out, and then I write the notes and put it in digital format. And then before I did it on tactiles. So I drew the maps, and often I just had a simple sketch like that in my notes of a location of an inn or a village or whatever it was. And then I sketched it out on using dry erase markers on my tactiles in like 5, and usually used like tokens. Occasionally people brought their miniatures. I usually have, like, sometimes I have just cardboard so I can write down what it was, or I have someone that was printed. I simply printed them on my inkjet printer with the monsters. So I just had basically a whole bag full of these tokens that I can put on, because I can write on top of them and stuff, so I can use lots of them. And then I just put them on there and sketched it. And afterwards, because I improvised the details, that was just wing it. That was just improv. But what I did, I took a camera and took a picture of everything afterwards, and then put that into my record. So if they came back 5-10 years later, I knew what the place looked like back then. And I wrote down the date in campaign date when they were in that place on the picture. So I knew, okay, that was the time was then and there, and that was it, so to speak. And I took simple notes, and then I had the players write notes too, and I put it together in and stuffed that information in I used, back 10 years ago, I used Evernote. Now I use a tool called Obsidian that I just put the information together. And that way I can go back and build the world bit by bit that way, so to speak, the details.
So that's super cool.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Will, I sorry to interrupt you on that. You did
No,
have
no,
something
no.
to bring up, please.
So one thing that if you go on, you watch content, especially like when you go into these DM chats on YouTube and these videos here and this there and whatnot, and you listen to DMs, there's a lot of people talking about, oh, sandbox, this and that, and how much as DMs we like doing it with the players and stuff. So what do you do with a group that needs to be led?
Like my guys.
You never hear that much. It's talking about you do your players. Yeah, you do this for your players, and then you react to how your players do this and do that.
Yeah.
And then you've got the group that needs to be. You got to herd
You have
them.
three. Yeah, there's three ways to it. You can tease them. You can mention it cool. Just name something cool. And I had one group that I played with a little while ago. So I simply mentioned, oh, there's something called the Dragonhide Caves up in the mountains. I mentioned it once, and they were off, so to speak. So some groups are motivated by you put breadcrumbs in there, or like a dog. You simply tease them with something interesting that sounds magical or whatever, and they're off. That's one thing. And the second one, you threaten them. It's simply, if you stay here, you're going to get killed. Meaning, if nothing happens, you send in a troll invasion. Like there's a whole bunch of young teenage trolls that troll youngsters come in and maraud or orc band is coming or whatever. So that's something. And one that is very underrated: boredom. Do nothing. And the players will sit there and go like, we need to do something. We need to kill something. And they will kill whatever. And then you have like some annoying little NPC teasing them. And something would just jump on the players would just use his character to jump on that poor NPC and murder him then and there. And then you have an adventure going again. So one thing, teasing.
I love this so much.
Teasing, threatening, and boredom. Those three, if one of those three always works, so to speak. So try them one after the other and just randomly decide which way you want to go and play it. They fall for one of these three, definitely.
I always say, because you hear certain things that are on the internet, and every time I hear it, I go, well, that depends. And one of those things is railroading is bad. Well, not always.
Exactly. No, of course.
Your party comes to a room with 3 doors. They open up each door, and behind that door is your written.
Exactly. That's the other trick. You can redesign things as needed too. Yes.
So,
sorry.
No, it's okay. What I'm going to say is the sandbox that is the most difficult thing for Stefan and me to do, with a table, set up an 8-foot by 8-foot table with all this terrain, and they want to go to some other town. It doesn't work, right? Yeah. So we got to right, Stefan, because we have this thing set up, and we're like, what the? So we have to kind of railroad a little bit, but that is already understood in our style of DMing. It would be like April coming on and going, "No, we're just going to go. We're going to leave Altamira and go south." In my game, I'm like, it's just you understand. No.
This is what I do. The theater of the mind starts off in the city,
right?
And there I know that like all roads lead to that dungeon eventually.
Yes.
You know, like anything can happen. Eventually they're going to get there somehow, but they're free to do whatever mayhem they want in the first part of the game.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
absolutely correct.
Show you,
that's a great point.
I can't find my book, but I'm going to show you.
Please.
Here's the. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Who did the work?
The city of Valoria. That I drew out.
Oh, you drew it.
That's sandbox. That's sandbox. So you could literally go
anywhere you want in the city.
Anywhere you want in the city.
Have you published that? Stefan, have you published it? Have you published?
Eventually, I'm going to do I'm going to publish it. We did a sort of a preview at one Kickstarter. We did a little preview booklet, but it's not. I haven't really done published the.
Because that's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Well, it's been a lifetime of drawing.
Yeah,
and then what I show you. If you allow me,
please do. Go for it.
And then here's this is my book, the Dungeons
Okay.
maps.
There you go.
So here,
Yep.
this was my school book that like I would draw the
Mm-hmm.
in the book,
My
and then
gosh.
inside there is like I made up the dungeons. Anna would probably get a
Yep.
kick out.
There you
These
go.
are
Yeah,
the
and
dungeons that are made
all
up.
on
Yep.
all there on the paper.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, on the graph paper, you know, and then
So
what? That's my module, right? So I
Yep.
would, I hate the writing, right? So I would just draw
The
everything,
same
and I would
here.
look at that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And as they walk through that, the purpose of those books, which they never saw, would be to tell me, to inspire me to describe what was going on. You know, like I do these intricate drawings
see, man, you're talented. Look at that.
to describe for me, so that I could then tell them what they see.
Yep. And
that's
to me,
and
it's
then
like
I published this book like 40 years later. And all the players that played all those years are like, oh my God, that's that dungeon I went to when I was 16.
Mhm. Yep.
Smart. I
They
never
see all the
throw.
secrets they don't remember, but,
But
you know.
you never throw anything away. So real quick, Stefan, here's my level of artist. That's the Free City of Altamira map on right below me. Look at that. It's a circle right now. It's crap. Look. So
We're going to make something better.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be complicated.
Well,
you know?
yeah. For the next 9 months, it's going to be that way, and something else will replace it shortly. Well, within a year, hopefully.
If 9 months is
Anna's
shortly-
maps are a little more complex.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. 1 pixel's 5 feet now on that one map, which is insane.
Porta potty scale.
Yeah.
Yep. I have 250 square. Now I have 500 square miles in the Southern Shieldlands mapped to 5 feet per pixel. The entire area. There's like dozens of settlements and stuff there. So yeah.
It's like terabytes.
Oh yeah, it's a couple of terabytes. So in 3D. Yeah. In 3D. Yeah.
So Anna, ask our 3 great companions and guests a question.
I was thinking, but we talked when I haven't listened to Joe Block's latest video, but he talked about the Gygaxian style when campaign time was probably not that stringent. You just some of them seem to have said that one day in the real world was one day in the campaign world. So then when the players came back a week later, it's gone a week. And to me, that seems like the terrible way of making your players harass you to play every damn day. So but I was thinking, do you have consistent narrative that goes on for years, or do you run like little bits and chunks that just loosely hang together, or how consistent are your gaming and campaigns and stuff from one to the other and over time?
Great question.
They call that nowadays West Marches.
Oh, okay.
That's that term.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you hear anybody throw around West Marches, they're talking. That's a Gygaxian style.
Yeah,
that's up my style. It's 100% my style.
Well, he said in the Dungeon Master Guide that it was imperative that you kept careful track of time in the campaign.
And he didn't do it himself, apparently. That's the
Really?
fun bit. Yeah, because we heard at GaryCon, we talked to one guy who played in Gary's campaign, and he said there was no consistency.
Who was it?
You
Sir
just
Andrew.
went off
Was it
and-
Sir Andrew?
Yeah.
Sir Andrew told us, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he had so many players, right?
Exactly. He
couldn't
just
possibly-
invited people in, and we played one little scenario that went on the whole day, and then next weekend there was half the players were
I think
new.
that had a lot
and
to do too with as time evolved through D&D. When he's first doing it in '74 and all this different stuff, and before that, he probably had a very strict West Marches type campaign with time and whatnot, because that's how they were developing the game. But then as the business exploded, and then he's going out to California and all this different stuff, it turned into sure, come on in. Because like there was some guys were talking about, and I had some stuff posted on the Facebook page, the Greyhawk Adventures group, about there was guys talking about the last time Gary ran Greyhawk, and the guys that played in it, I was poking them to say, well, spill the freaking beans. And it turns out that the whole adventure was about, I don't know, out of a 6-hour session, they crammed in an hour's worth of role playing. Aside from that, they were drinking, smoking cigars,
playing amongst your friends.
And one of the van they came over caught on fire. So that was all the stories that they were talking about. But it was because he had some new city in the Beckliners West that he was talking about and whatnot. So
That's cool.
I have a great quote from Mike Tyson that sums this up. Everyone has a plan to get punched in the mouth. Right? That's how you have to keep careful track of this and that and whatever. And then the campaign starts like, oh no, well, everything's out the window,
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have ongoing campaigns. I haven't had one. Like the longest ongoing campaigns you saw is when I was doing streams.
Right.
Because generally, like, I've got basically 2 ongoing groups. The Wednesday group that you see in Runis and Ravensrook right now, and then I have a Sunday group that I've been playing with now for about 6 years, but I don't run that. And the Wednesday group, we do all kinds of stuff. So like we'll play a storyline, and then we'll go and we'll play something else, or somebody else runs something. So I haven't had a long-term Greyhawk campaign since I did that's the last city campaign where I did in Ernst.
You're a bouncer.
Remember the name?
Your group's of bouncers.
I bounce with systems too, though. So.
Yeah, you do. More than yes. April, how about you on this question from Anna?
Well, it depends.
It's all good.
It really depends, because it depends on if it's, like I said, again, streamed or home, or streamed or not streamed, and if it's a one shot, a mini series, or a long running campaign. Longer running campaigns, I tend to pay attention more to the timeline and making sure that, like, okay, days, this is what day you're on, and this is how many days since this event happened, and stuff like that. But for like mini series and one shots, I'm like, it's fall. Like, this is the season.
Right.
Meh. Other than that, so
I've become terribly accurate with time and kind of almost anal about it, because my campaign, the Shieldlands campaign, now we played 30 sessions, the 30th session today, and over a little bit over a year, and we have advanced 11 days and 10 hours in 30 sessions, and it's been kind of intense, and the players are 3rd level, 4th level now, so I need to slow them down in level advancement and speed up time a bit, but there will be downtime in a few more sessions. But right now they're stuck in a big combat that might last like 6 sessions, and that will probably advance 2 hours in game time, so to speak, in campaign time.
For me, I see time as episodic, almost like the Walking Dead TV show where they're bouncing around. I have 26 different adventuring groups for my players. We have 26. We have the Slav Squad. We have 2 Drink Minimum. We have the group you just ran in April. We have Living Greyhawk groups, and they all exist in the same campaign. I can't move time forward that much. So we were at 1 year real, 1 year game. It's kind of stretched out 2-3 years real, 1 real game now. So that's, it's just can't do it, because then people, we'll have groups adventuring for years if we do it that way. So but everyone's different. So
yep. That's why interesting, because there are many interesting ways of solving it, and depending on your style and your goals and how your gaming is set up practically, so to speak.
Yes, that's fine. Do that bathroom.
I can understand you need.
Do that bathroom. So we'll hold on. Yeah. Yep. So
needs to be a GIF. Like, if there's a GIFer, can you just GIF that? I love that. I would use it all the time.
Like bathroom.
Yes.
That's awesome.
All right, so we're doing, as everyone knows, we surpassed our 8,000th follower Saturday. Every 1,000. I'm doing the Best of Dragon Volume 3. I'm going to do this too. This is from Stratagem Wiz Dice. It's brand new. I gave one of these away last week. I got another one. This is the Master Minion set, 23 miniatures, tabletop miniatures. Yes, please. All guests are allowed to sign up too. And there you go. There's the miniatures in there. It's really a Fandelver set. It's brand new. Yes. So there you go.
I run it all the time for I teach D&D to veterans.
Awesome.
Through Warrior Project, and I run this module. Like,
awesome.
My favorite.
So
that is considered to be the best adventure written for 5th edition, pretty much by most people.
Some people have said of all time, and I say no.
Not of all time.
No.
That is very well worn. It's like
so we're doing those 2 giveaways tonight, okay? On the same giveaway. So remember, you have to be on the claim at the end. So there you go. We got 100 people watching. So good, right? Excellent. So I will wait till Stefan gets back to do this, okay, and then I'll talk about what's behind me here.
Yeah.
So let me see here. How about this? beyond your own setting, do you have like a favorite that you kind of like that you don't play that you would love to play? You know, it could be another game system or, you know, I love Tim's Aftermath game, and I wish we'd play it. We haven't in a long time. It's post-apocalyptic. It's kind of crazy. We've done our Mech Warrior game twice now on live stream. I'd love to get an Aftermath game going. So go ahead there, Will, April, on that question.
Well, if you're gonna say fantasy, I'm a big fan of Eberron. Eberron is number 2 for me, right behind Greyhawk. It is it has unique spins on a lot of traditional, not just fantasy, but D&D tropes that I think makes it really interesting. So, but as far as games, Marvel Superheroes, the original Face Rip, baby. That's all.
Yeah,
that's
you did
what it's
stream
all
that a bit
about.
too. You streamed that a little
Yeah.
bit too.
Yeah, we streamed it. It's been over a year now since I streamed that, but it was yeah, man. I played more Marvel Superheroes when I was a kid than I did D&D. I didn't start playing D&D regularly until I was in my teens, into my late teens. So
cool.
But we might stream. They're trying to talk me into streaming this new Marvel game that just came out, the Kickstarter. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. But
Cool.
It's not Face Rip.
April, and then I'll re-ask it to Stefan. What do you think? What do you got? What?
We've been playing my home game for like 5 years. We are deep into Eberron, so it's a lot of fun. I love everything about it. It's been really interesting. I've played Vampire we were just talking about it in chat. I've played Vampire the Masquerade a couple of sessions, and I want more.
Okay.
I want more Vampire the Masquerade. I also want to do Star Trek Adventures, which is through Modafius. I'm like, I freaking love Star Trek. I grew up on it. I remember, falling asleep watching it, and I love everything about it. And I really need to get into a game with it because I think it'd be so much fun. So
the question.
I think you got an inside route to that too, don't you? I mean,
I do. Like,
who's
I know
that published by again?
I know. Like, I know plenty of people. Like, yeah, the project manager. He would, if I told him, he'd be like, "Okay, we're setting up a game tomorrow." So I just need to do it because I know I'd be hooked.
Stefan, the question is a game system or tabletop RPG that you'd like to try or play that you haven't, or besides D&D, or it could be another D&D, it could be Dragonlance or something like that.
I don't really want to do anything but D&D.
That's fine. That's a legitimate answer. That's a legitimate answer. That was a filler.
You know what I have played that I liked was Telanian's game, Hyperborea.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's like a Conan-esque sort of. So I got a chance to play that once at a convention. I thought that was fun. We were Vikings raiding a place,
That's awesome.
I love the book. They came out, these books he came out with, they have so many illustrations in them. Yeah. It's like half the book is illustrations. I don't know. It's a labor of love for him. I'm sure he don't make any money. You have to pay all these artists, right. But he just loves it. He's a great guy.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. I know a lot of people have considered running it in streams, but then it seems to not happen as much as it. I know a lot of people go, I want a Hyperborea game, but it's just,
It's great.
Reality,
guy.
Very cool.
He's a great player. He played in one of my games too. He's like very gung ho,
Yeah, Dungeon Musings over on YouTube has an ongoing Hyperborea campaign.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, give me 5 minutes, please, everyone. A tribute here. So everyone knows that Len passed like over a year ago. And I think it's between 3 and 4 weeks before he passed. He knew he was dying. He really didn't tell Anna and me. He was on our shows like 40 times. He would just show up
on the day before he
was on the day before he passed too.
Yeah.
He just shows up, talks with whoever's talking, and leaves. It's just boom, like that. He was gone after 30 minutes. So we had Leonard Lakoff on a ton of times. He was a regular guest on the show. Yep. And so he said, he started giving us stuff, and he says, Jay, I have this Kickstarter for Dwarven Forge. I did, because I'm addicted to Kickstarters, and I don't think I'm going to, I want to give it to you. And so he says, I'm going to call them up. I'm going to transfer it to you. So I have the stuff here. I haven't opened it yet. So this is our last ode to Leonard. I just got this stuff whenever it came, Stefan, a week or two ago. I was waiting for the right moment. All right, so this is our like ode to Leonard. So we
were pen pals a bit, like text pals.
Oh yeah, he loved
Awesome.
emailing everyone too. Yeah. Oh yeah, he would a ton of stuff. He was into every Kickstarter. Yep. So what I have here is the Swamp War Game Scatter. Okay, I have that, and I have the Forest War Game Scatter. So because my table, the scatter fits really well into the sets here. So I think they're unpainted. So Build a Master Crafter's got more work to do. I'm just gonna chain him down the basement again.
He's crying right now.
He's crying right now.
To hide.
I'm gonna open up a couple of these real quick.
He backed that stuff. He never got to get it. He never got it.
Right, and the great thing was
it's just coming in now.
Right, he was kind enough. He was kind enough to have the foresight to give it to me, which was really awesome. So I'm just going to show a couple of these. Well, I don't know if I want to take it out, but look, that's really awesome. So I guess that's a base for it, right? Really great terrain stuff. Cool. Yeah. Oh, look, magnetic at the bottom. Yeah. Yeah. But Bill,
that's cool.
When you see with Build a Master Crafter, you've seen some of the stuff on my sets that he does. It's unbelievable.
He takes the basic stuff like this and makes it magical. Yeah.
He does. He absolutely does. Let's open up one from the Swamp set here. So and then we'll continue on here. And Leonard, it was such a prized treasure to this community. With all the things.
I'm so glad we had so many wonderful conversations.
I got so much fun goodies here, Stefan. Man, I got a ton of great stuff.
I remember reading his column in Dragon Magazine when I was growing up.
Oh yeah. Lehman's
Tiny
Hut.
Yeah.
I used to read it, and then lo and behold, one day he messages me. Through this technology we have now, I'm like, is this really that the Kafka? Dude? I was like blown away.
Trust me, he was really an interesting person on stream, and yes, I would argue with him all the time, which was really fantastic.
Because I don't think it was arguing so much as Leonard setting you straight.
Yeah, well, that's true.
and his favorite answer was nope.
Nope. Just one word. Nope.
Nope. That was so funny.
Oh, look at this. So this is from the Swamp set here. Wow.
I never got to meet him, but we
were so close to meet him because he lived like 50 miles.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Awesome
stuff. He lived
stuff.
50 miles away from.
Awesome stuff.
That's a swamp tree.
Yeah. Awesome scatter terrain. All different sorts of great scatter. And it's all going to be. There's another nice tree piece. Yeah.
I'm sculpting this now.
Oh.
That's cool.
This is a wall, medieval walls that I'm doing for like city builder too.
Because you're going into the city next, which is great.
Yeah.
So note that Leonard was kind enough. There's a couple $100 of stuff here at least, right? That he was a very generous person. He left all of his books to Anna and me, right? Anna's got them at her house. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep. And we have a bunch of old maps and stuff too. So
yeah, we got a whole bunch of Leonard archive stuff.
He knew who to give it to. It'll be enjoyed.
Well, we
need to spread it out and digitize it and all that. I've bought a scanner, so I scanned in all the printouts and all the stuff we had here. So
yeah, we're gonna make sure.
Is there an ETA on that?
Josh,
that's the thing. Yeah, we
there's a meeting tomorrow night.
With Josh. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, it's a meeting
tomorrow. Josh Pop, you on? Josh Zarathon. He's the head of that Len Kafka recovery group. So
because there's that adventure. I drew a couple.
Exactly. We have that will be the L6 adventure put together and stuff. So
Troy says it's coming out very soon. So
okay, yep.
All right, so we got 2 giveaways tonight. We got the miniature set, and we got the Best of Dragon Volume 3. Thank you all for entertaining that. I just wanted to show Stefan all the stuff I got from Dwarven Forge from Leonard. It was wonderful person. So when we get back to the discussion here, thank you for the sub. Really appreciate it. It's a new month. It's May. Rinse and repeat. Let's see here. Give me, if you can, a spot where you got like a mental block in content creation and how you kind of got out of it.
I get mental blocks all the time. And the way I always get out of it, it's back when I was writing comic book scripts and stuff. Start reading. You read, I go back. I forget how, could be a page, could be a couple of pages into what I was already doing, and read through and edit up to I get to the part. And usually that kicks the blocks out and it sends me down the hill. So usually.
Okay.
Or I go draw.
Yep. April?
I'm notoriously slow. Notoriously slow. Like I get a block when I sculpt, like when I'm sculpting this, and then I do it, and then I lose interest in it. Like I resolve something and I sculpt it, and then I'm like, all right, I figured that out. And then, but when you sculpt such intricacy, the moment that you figure something out, that's like the easy part, that's the inspirational part, but then you have to actually do it. That's the technical, laborious part of the execution.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to work on this other project. And as I have all these things scattered around that I haven't finished. And then eventually I'll get back to it and be like, I've left that for a month. Now I'm inspired to work on it again. And then you go back and finally, hopefully you finish it. And also some music helps, like some music or something. I've learned that I can watch baseball, and I sculpt in front of I have my TV monitor and I sculpt while I'm listening to the baseball so I don't get bored. So I'm finishing up all the little details while I'm listening to baseball, and when someone gets a hit, then I look up and watch it.
Right.
Then I go back to sculpt.
That's the best way to watch baseball. Don't do anything until you hit it.
Baseball's great. It's like 3 hours. 3 hours of a game that normally you might get bored of just watching it, but if you're watching while you're doing something else, it's great.
Mets or Yankees, Stefan? Mets or Yankees?
So my Yankees, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Very cool. April, how about you for this one?
If it's during a campaign, like mid-campaign, for me, if I get stuck and I'm just like in a lull, I just go back and reread everyone's backstories. Because usually I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot this little good juicy tidbit that I can really play off of and really like zing one of my players with to, get that emotional response from them. Other than that, same thing. Reading, I'm big into audiobooks, love my audiobooks. A lot of my stuff comes from inspiration from TV shows or watching other people's streams. I'll be like, ooh, I really like what they did with this storyline, but how I would do it is do this. I would tweak it this way. So yeah, watching other people's games really, really helps with some inspiration.
Very cool. That's a great answer.
For me, I go out hiking. That's I put on my hiking boots and take my backpack and camera and go out in nature and go out and hike for half a day or a day or something like that to see nature, because that inspires me, like who lives here, and I try to see great nature and and then get inspired. If this would be in Greyhawk, who would live here? What will it look like? And so on. And where will I build a fortress, so to speak, or a castle? Or how difficult would it be to do a siege if the castle was up on a hill somewhere or something like that? And if you travel in the fantasy world, meaning what you could see from here, and if a dragon wanted to attack, would he come up the hill or down the hill, and all sorts of stuff. It just hits me when I'm out in nature, so to speak, and especially away from modern day civilization. That's the key for me, so to speak. Come out when there is hardly no one out there. That is I just love that part. That gives me back into. Yep.
Traveling is wow.
Yep, traveling and get out there and especially out in pure nature, so to speak, and you hear things and see things and it's wonderful. Yep.
Nature's the master.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I drive a lot for work, being a sales rep, so I'm daydreaming a lot in my car, which is probably dangerous, but
No, but daydreaming is the key to creativity, I think.
So we got a great question from Troy, and we got one from Captain Ron, but Troy's I'm going to take first. What kind of format do you recommend best in creating content? Outline, draw it out, etc. For me, believe it or not, Troy, I flesh out a lot of campaigns. I bet you Stefan does the same thing. After I have the terrain set up, I have an outline. I have what I want to do concept wise, but since we're so reliant on it, I get the terrain on the board. Then I'm like, I'm going to do this here, do this there, do that there, and that's kind of one of my styles. But I write everything down in books, notes. Who wants to take that question next?
I can take it. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No. You first.
I was just going. For me, it's a multi-step. First, when I always make sure that I have my smartphone with me. So when I get the idea, I take up Evernote or whatever and jot down 1 or 2 sentences, and then because that way I can come back to it. Because if I don't write it down, I will never remember it again. So that's stage 1, so to speak. To just Oh, cool. Yes, just jot down the idea and then come back to it when you get home and when you have like a block. Then you look at that little sentence and then you start sketching something a little bit. Then you have a sketch and then you feel like you add to it. And then 4 or 5 iterations or 10 iterations later, it's a whole settlement or a whole dungeon or a whole monster or a whole backstory. So do it over iterations. But when you get that in, don't let that go to waste, so to speak. Write it down instantly. Stop what you're doing, write it down, take 1 minute, write down 1 or 2 sentences. Exactly. And then just forget about it, because you can just go back to, I have a special little notebook in my Evernote for ideas that just pops up, so to speak. Just put them down and then you can forget about it and then go back to the ideas when you have time.
I want to hear April's answer on this one.
I will get ideas of scenarios of what I know is coming up in stories, and I will know that this is coming up, and then I'm like, okay, how would that look? And then that's how I build. That's how I build sets. So I'll be like, okay, this is they're about to visit this settlement or this ruin, and then I visualize it in my head what I want it to be, and then I just start carving, I start cutting, I start painting, and doing that. But for like broad big areas, obviously you can't have, unless you have Jay's table, of course. You can't have like a whole state, as it were, of a table. So I've done some maps on Inkarnate, and built maps that way for my players to see just geographical locations and stuff like that. So because like I said before, I'm a very visual person. I like to show people this is how far this is how far this point is, and this is how long it's going to take you and stuff like that. So anytime I can use visual aids, I like to do that.
Visual aids are good. Stefan, what's your answer on that one?
I'm similar to what Anna said, is that she likes to go for a walk. I go for a walk, but the neighborhood here is always the same, right? So it's semi-inspirational. And I'm lucky enough to be able to do this. I travel. I travel a lot. So sometimes it's for conventions, but other times, we'll go to Europe, and most of my inspiration is drawn on travels. Like we went to Iceland for a Destination Fantastic episode and was just blown away by that land. When I was young, my European parents took me to Greece and Rome and Spain, all over Europe, all that stuck in me, right? And I draw on those experiences when I was making my world, and anywhere, travel. My girlfriend from Georgia, I go to Georgia. I try to travel as much as possible, because that's the beauty of life. We have such an incredible world, and the more we can travel in it and see all these places for real, not like on a screen or a TV, but
if you can't do it, then the second best is to watch documentaries as well. If you can, but travel is the best.
But you gotta do it. You got there's some way you gotta backpack through Europe on a budget. Go to stay in pensiones. Even especially when you're younger. Save up the money to do it. Get out into the world and see these crazy places, and it will inspire you the rest of your life. I feel like maybe a lot of Americans, maybe it's changing now, but a lot of Americans, they don't travel as much, and like they grow up and they see everything on the phone, in the phone or the TV, and they think they know about the world, but you don't really know about the world unless you go across the ocean to those places and you talk to the people, the places and the people. You talk, have a conversations with the people, and you're not watching a show, but you encounter all these little things that you never would have imagined unless you actually went to that country.
Yep.
China, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Australia. Yeah, I went to all these places and I was blown away by the subtle differences of cultures, and all those things inspire you and enrich your life. And I spend a lot of money on it, but it's okay. I can spend all the money I have on traveling, because that's what being alive is, right?
But did you take your notebook with you and you're like, I got to write this down, and then took an idea, or did you are you a visual learner and you just remembered it and you're like, then you turned it into an adventure? Like
Sometimes I took, when I was more just an artist, I would take I would draw everything. I took my art books.
Yeah, take a picture.
Lots of little journals, but mostly just absorb it.
Absorbing,
in your brain, through your eyes and your nose and your mouth, and
smell
Wally
it,
Hobbit's group,
taste it.
it just came in. 2 giveaways. Just showing it, everyone. 2 giveaways for the new group, Wally Hobbit, who rated in. Masters Minions Stratagem just came out with a new mini set, 23 minis, and the Best of Dragon Volume 3, 2 giveaways. Okay, so that's what we got. Will, how about this answer to this question on prep from Canadian?
Are we talking as far as for when we're talking content for our game, or content for sale?
For game.
For game.
You're DMing.
For game, if I'm DMing, essentially I'll have the open notebook. And then what I do is I have an ongoing story script. And essentially my story script is I will bullet point and outline everything that I want to do, like topics or an encounter, so forth. And then what I do is after the session is over, I revisit that script and I put in what actually happened. And then I make the adjustments for it for the next session's story script. And you can see with that, you can see the evolution of there's the story I had an idea.
Awesome.
And then this is what ended up really happening. And you can definitely see how things change and whatnot. All from the character's perspective.
Yes, that's so. Most of us are very similar. Where, because I know now as I get older, I forget stuff. I mean, because there's so much going on, and I'm like, I got to write that down. So I'll see notes for like, this is adventure 953. This is the adventure that April just ran last week. The Murloc Menace. Yes, I do use Murlocs and Greyhawk. Sorry, because I love them and WoW. And then from there, I got some other notes on side notes on other stuff that came up. So I have notes on this paper that came up during the adventure that I wanted in future stuff. So always writing down things.
Yeah, that's what the blank paper is because as you go through the story, jot down.
Yep.
And always listen to your players because they come up with cool
oh my gosh,
that you always have to use them because
I saw somebody in chat was talking about as far as tips for being improvisational. That what Anna just said is the #1 key to being good at your improv. You listen to what your players are talking and saying, and then you act on it. And then you don't have to do exactly like they said. For example, when we did the last fundraiser, Jay, and we did there was a dragon in it, so forth, and I had a familiar that was in there, and I had the familiar was talking in a Russian accent. Now there were a number of people in chat who had had seen the previous charity event in the Underdark, where the dragon that I had in there had a Russian accent. So everybody's all like, oh, well, the familiar's a dragon, it's got a Russian accent, And I was like, was that was not what I had written down at all. So I was like, all right, well, he's the dragon now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I totally changed everything around, and I'm riffing off of the chat. And then you riff off of what the players are saying, because the players love to make guesses. And when the players make a guess, the guess could be like, that's pretty damn good.
Yep.
I think I'll use it. And then if you use it and it comes true and they find out, you know what they do? They go, I told you so.
Yes, exactly. Mhm. Yep. Make sure you don't do it right away, though. Give it the
Yes.
a little bit of time to mature and so on and so forth. So the players vaguely remember that they had the discussion, and then you can hit them with it. So
Or
to
you
speak.
take what they suggested and you
Mhm.
flip it, and then
Yep,
you use the
exactly. You
opposite
do
of
the opposite sometimes,
Mhm.
and yeah. So,
Yeah.
so let your players inspire you. That's very important.
it. Yeah,
Sometimes I did at a convention where I have like there maybe 10 players, where you're like, wait, there's another 5 or 6 players that want to play, and I'll tell them, come towards the end of the game and show up, and you can play some of the monsters.
there you go.
Yep.
And I had so many fun games where then there's a bunch of goblins or orcs in a dungeon. We're like, well, here come your orcs, and then I'll bring in new players, and then they get to decide what the monsters do.
Oh,
And then I just
that's
sit
awesome.
back and watch what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
just-
that's awesome fun.
That's
I
one thing
yeah.
I
Yep.
that's one thing I do in streams, because there things pop up on where I'm not going to do a conversation between two NPCs talking about this or that. So what I'll do lots of times is situation will come up and I'll go, okay, hey Bob, you're playing this shopkeeper. His main motivation is he wants money. He'll do anything really to get that money, and he does have the information for these guys. So go ahead, and then I just, all right, you guys do it, and then I just sit back, go get a sandwich. let them hash it out, and I do that a lot, but
So
to get the information and get them to come up with some of that stuff.
I just did that Thursday night. I ran my own stream, got off. Darling was running a fundraiser for her dog rescue. I came on as the hag at the very last encounter. Bone D the hag, yes, and yes,
my favorite.
yes, and that was a fun time. It was a late night last Thursday, but it was worth it. So
if I go on to Darling Creep shows and watch that episode, I get to hear you do a hag voice.
Oh yes, and the hag,
do a scary voice, Jake.
I'm not very good at it, but the hag threatened to take all the guys' ball sacks and turn them into tobacco bags.
Which has some cool backstories.
Yes, it does.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, but
Yep.
trust me, Bone D, which is Bones and Mandy mixed, okay, because I push buttons, right? Bone D, I got a permission from Darling, will be appearing in my Greyhawk campaign. Trust me, for revenge. So yeah, yeah, that's fun. Yep. That's part of the fun of the community. So I'm going to ask the next question. I'm still going to get to yours on bad items there, community wise. Some ideas for taking your content and expanding it into the community further. Anyone have any ideas? Like, I know there's social media and stuff, and fundraisers are big. I think it's a huge way to get more people involved, and that's why we do 2 a year. So content creation and growing a Twitch or growing a D&D community. Give me an idea. Just throw something out there. Like Stefan, throw something out there, like doing GaryCon, and how do you haul that stuff there? By the way, how do you get all that Dwarven Forge at GaryCon?
Oh, we packed like 7 suitcases.
So you just carried on the plane like? Oh my gosh! Okay.
Yeah.
Get some Sherpas.
Wow, and that didn't even count your clothing. I'm
gonna try to find this. All right. But yeah, it's nuts. I'm gonna show you a photo if I can find this here.
I know that was a little vague question. Okay, but that was kind of vague.
God, no, I can't find it. Jesus, I have so many photos, it's impossible to find. But yeah, 7 suitcases. And these days we try to fly first class when we can. Business class, whatever, and then they give you can bring more suitcases, and then the weight limit goes from 50 to 70 pounds or something like that. And then we have like 7 suitcases of almost 70 pounds. I actually went over this last time. I had to pay a penalty, even with going first class. It was nuts. But you got to do what you got to do. I had to get it there, and because they were like, I had to run a game at the Lake Geneva Museum.
Right.
was different. Then I had to do a live stream, and then I had to play the games in the room. We had a suite where people would come and play in our suite. So there was 3 different setups I had to build.
Oh my God.
And it was nuts. It almost destroyed us.
But now you have memories.
My girlfriend Anne was like, "Yeah, that's crazy. No more of that," And but you get excited and you want to do something good, and and it's heavy. Dwarvenite is heavy.
But it was worth it though, right? You have memories now from all those people.
It's worth it, yeah, because then that's all you have when you get older is the memories, And you look back and you make an effort, and then when you're on your deathbed, you can say, I didn't leave anything on the table,
Except for a
I
bunch
gave
of
it my
minis.
all.
Except a bunch of terrain and minis, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They both lost.
Yeah, you
My
leave
basement.
them on the table, yeah.
We'll leave it to you, Jay, and we'll leave it like Leonard.
Yeah. Wow. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So April, want to answer that, and then Will on that one? I know it's kind of a little vague.
Yeah, I mean, supporting each other. I hate gatekeeping. I hate communities that are like, this is our group and you can't play with us, and
Right.
only we're good enough, or your setup's not good enough to play with. I hate that, man. This game is for everybody, and it's a freaking game.
Yep.
And I mean, yes,
Fair
depending on what you're wanting to do with it. If you're thinking monetization, I mean, there's different ways to go about that. But first and foremost, these are games. They're supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have adventures with your friends, make new friends. Like Stefan said, like memories, like that's the biggest thing for me. Just getting to play with as many people as you can, meeting as many people as you can.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
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 More
Yes,
than
it
a
is.
game. It's a lifestyle.
Yep.
And that's I think that's the most important thing. Just connecting with other people, connecting with other games. Like that was my first time getting to play 1/2E. It was so much fun. And
Awesome.
man, I just want to do that with everything. I want to give me all of the games, all the the stuff. I just want to experience all the TTRPGs and play with everybody. And yeah, because it's an experience, and it's beautiful. And meeting, I mean, I was almost crying earlier listening to y'all talk about some of y'all's inspirations and stuff, because I mean, this is like one of the most beautiful roundtables I've been a part of.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some people I've been in some roundtables and it's like everybody has the same answers as usual, but man, y'all are just like,
It's a shared
feel
Yep.
y'all's hearts.
It's like
are-
us here. The
So it's
shared
been really
experience,
Absolutely.
right?
See, I'm
We
tearing up
make
now.
adventures together.
See, that's kind of the charm of this, is to expand out and get everyone involved. Because D&D, us old schoolers may be a dying breed, but OSE, there's so many new systems coming up in old school, so it's not. It's just it's a perspective thing, and it doesn't matter 5e, 4e, Castle Crusades, Pathfinder. There's enough room for everyone, right? In whatever system you play. So we try to be all inclusive to everyone, and that's part of the charm. I think that's part of the charm of these discussions. And thanks, April. That was really kind of you to say that.
I'm still teared up now. Like
That's
y'all
fine.
get it. Y'all get it. Y'all are like genuinely love this hobby
Yes.
and lifestyle, as you
Beloved.
said. And
It's
I'm like,
beloved.
yeah,
Yeah.
y'all get it. So
It's important to the future of humanity.
No, he's right.
I honestly believe that
Play games. Seriously.
these kinds of role-playing games and this hobby is very important for us to retain our humanity.
Yep.
To get together in person and share these stories and create the stories together,
Yep.
like we did back in the caveman times. Sit around the fire and
Yep.
tell yarns,
Yep.
stories, and
This is the
hang
modern
out
equivalent.
together.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's what we're doing when
Yep.
we sit around the table and roll dice and spin yarns and talk to each other. And this
Yep.
is a human thing, and we must not lose that in this age of technology where we're getting less and less human, less and less personal.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's important we keep playing these games, and I think that's why the younger generation is so fascinated now by this resurgence in this kinds of games. They're like, oh wow, this is cool. We can sit around and whatever system you use, you're like, oh, and they're so excited, the characters, and you know, I'm playing the 5e game at Gen Con TV or Chaldea with Peter Atkinson, and I encounter all these younger people getting into the 5e, and they're so excited about it and their enthusiasm, and I'm the grognard, you know, and I'm like, you know, whatever, you know, they're having, I go with the flow, you know, and it's not first edition, but it's fun to play with these people happy, and they're making up all these fantastical things, and they're like this one kid, he jumped into this dinosaur's mouth. He's attacking their mouth, and it's crazy, it's ludicrous, you know, but everyone's having fun. And I'm like, okay, that's 5e, it's not really, it's totally out of the world. No one can die. He keeps getting eaten by monsters and living, but you know, if everyone's having fun, it's fun, you know. So if you play some kind of monk,
it's okay,
and
April.
running up,
I know. I'm like, I love you guys.
You know, it's
That's so
wild,
awesome.
crazy. But the act of being together in the same room and interacting, that's the important part. That's the humanity part of it.
Do you want to close this one out, Will?
Sure. I mean, as far as getting content, if you're looking to get content out to people, find your niche, I guess, would be the first thing I would say.
Absolutely.
Because within your community where you can go and you can just share your stuff, and whatever your niche, whatever your interest is, believe it or not, there's a group for that. Just got to look, and there it is. So, like, for example, I like Greyhawk. I went around, I found Greyhawk stuff, and I make Greyhawk stuff, and then you share it with those people in all those different places. They're going to have Discords now. Technology makes it so much easier now. You can get Discords, there'll be Facebook groups, you know, there's Twitch and Twitch, you know, communities, all this different stuff that you can find it, and then you can go and share. For example, for Greyhawk, there's Greyhawk Online, there's Cannon Fire, both of which have websites and have Discords, at least Greyhawk Online has Facebook presence. And if you like to make content, you can get content, you can put them on there, or you can do like me. I have a blog. There's a number of different bloggers, and you can set up a blog for free and just put your stuff up there, and you can share it with the world.
Yeah, technology is a double-edged sword. Like, there's a good part.
Yep.
Like, we can find things that we could never find before. I had to go down to the game store and answer an ad stuck on the billboard.
Right? Exactly.
Play by mail. Remember that,
Exactly.
Stefan? Play by mail.
Yep.
I think it's highly overlooked. Every time you hear people talk about the explosion of 5e and Dungeons and Dragons, everyone overlooks the technology aspect. If the technology that we have today was available in the 80s and the 70s, it would have got a hell of a lot bigger than it was.
Oh yeah.
Then. It is so easy to connect, find games, and play online. It's insane, you know. I still think that in-person role-playing is by far the best, but it is so much easier to do online. And you know, when you can't play in person, there you go.
Look at us here. Look what we're doing here.
Yes.
Meaning you can you can meet your like-minded wherever they come from and wherever they are online, so to speak. So you broaden your horizons, and also as a content creator, you can reach the world with your stuff. And my two advice is that first, specialize it, at least in the beginning. Find your niche, what you really want to do and you're passionate about, because there's so many others doing all sorts of things. So in order to stand out, if you want to be seen and heard and engaged with, you need to specialize in something and get good at it, and listen in on the community and keep doing it. And then also be generous. Don't put it behind a paywall right away, so to speak. Creative Commons and other formats, give it out there, and then be generous to the community and specialize. And then not everyone, but then there are the exception. I must say, Will, who is kind of a jack of all trades, who's damn good at almost everything. Then there are some content creators, they can do almost anything and get away with it. But most of us, like me, we have to kind of niche into something and get really good at it, and then keep doing it and then serve a community, and realize, take your role as a content creator to serve a community, and the community will be will help you definitely.
But don't get the wagon before the horse.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you gotta be great at something first.
Mhm.
Like do
Yep.
something
Mhm.
with your life. You know,
Exactly.
create. You have to.
Yep.
And if it's something that's like good,
And it
then
takes time
people
to
wanna
become good.
know
so to
about it,
speak.
and then you
Yep.
get on social media. But
Yep.
Some
First-
people want to go, oh, we got to get it on this media and that media,
No,
and
no.
but
Yeah.
they forget, like, but first you have to do something great. 'Cause,
Yep, exactly. It's a
know.
marathon, meaning it takes some years to hone a skill good enough
Yeah.
that you will be not. They might be the wondrous person who's simply born to do something, but for most of it, it takes years. Meaning, it took me 20 years or more to hone map making into something that I could feel is truly professional level, so to speak. But that took over 20 years.
We come from a generation
Yep.
that was lucky because we started off life before
hmm
all
Yep.
of the
Yep.
this social
Yep.
media, and
Yep.
so
Yep.
we were used to doing it, and then
hmm
we got good at something. I studied art for my whole life, and
Yep.
that's how I was able to do what I do. Is all those
Yep.
years of studying anatomy
It
and
takes
drawing
dedication.
models and
Yep.
traveling the world, and then later in life, like I don't know, like maybe just like 7 or 8 years ago, my people in my office said, "You really should go on social media." You know,
You have
my
people
first
for that.
Kickstarter.
Mhm.
Before I did the Kickstarter, the company wasn't really that big, and then we did that first Kickstarter, and then it kind of people found out about
Mhm.
us through social
Yep.
media for Kickstarter,
Yep.
and then we became a whole other level.
Mhm.
I've got one piece of advice. If people are out there, if you want to talk about content creation, if you're talking about going like a step above personal gaming and what have you, if you're looking at streaming and you're looking at writing, you're looking at any of this different stuff, first and foremost, make sure it's your passion. Don't ever look at this and then think, wow, I want to just put on a pair of headphones, get on the screen and start doing that. First off, welcome to the crowd. Second of all,
Welcome to the crowd.
to get the type of commitment that you're going to need to be put into something like that, it better be a passion of yours, because
Yep.
you're not going to be successful.
No.
All right.
It doesn't happen right away
No.
at all.
Yeah.
And you have to treat it like a business. This
Yep.
isn't, because it is about games, doesn't mean it is a game.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Well, like I said, in life in general, pursue what you are interested in and what you love. Forget about the money.
Exactly.
Forget about everything else. Just do what you
Yeah.
love to do,
Mhm.
and then
Yes.
it doesn't matter if you make money in it. Just as long as you scrape by.
Yep.
If you
And-
do it and you do something you love, it eventually will pay off.
Yes.
And if it doesn't, you still have spent your life doing something you love doing.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I'm going to answer Torlock's question with what Will just said. All right. And sorry if I'm bloviating here. It took me 3.5 years of a grind, and Will knows this, to get the partner. I got rejected 12 times.
Mhm.
Okay. And yes. All right. So I understand this. And when I started, and when Will started back in 2018, on a Saturday night, there were 50 D&D streams. There are 500 now on a Saturday night. Okay. So note the following. Do not quit your real-time job to do this right at the beginning. Okay. I'm just saying this. Do this as what I do, what Will does, as a beloved hobby. We have our other careers, and that's just where we are. Don't think you're going to be the next Critical Role. That's fantasy land. Okay, that it just is. But do this and put your whole. If you want to do this as a beloved hobby, get and do it right. Right, and that's what I attempt to do every time we stream, and every time we have a game, and every time I'm reaching out to someone. Don't half-ass it. That's all I can say.
Yep.
Did I say that right, everyone?
Yeah. And be in it for the
Tenacity,
long
too.
haul.
Yeah.
Tenacity.
Yep. Absolutely.
exactly.
Tenacity counts in
Absolutely.
life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're never going to succeed at first. You have to
Yeah.
keep trying.
Yep.
Try again, try again, try again. And the only way you can do that, unless you love being, if you love to do it, you got to try again because you love doing it.
Yep.
And you're going to fail and you're going to fail and you fail, but you're going to keep doing it because you like it. You like
Yep.
to do it. Eventually, you probably keep rolling that die. You're eventually going to hit a 20.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
One of my favorite sayings is, you learn to be successful through failure.
Absolutely.
Which is totally true.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah, you
from your
learn more from
mistakes.
failures than successes in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. And I said I don't want to bloviate there a little bit about that, but so April, you're a streamer too. You're streaming through other channels, and I know talk about some of the roadblocks you come up on.
Oh, kind of like what you've said. I've played with people that
Drama, too.
they have completely. Well, you know the story.
I know the story. Yeah, I do.
That they quit their jobs and they were like, "This is my life," and then everybody in the community had to support them.
Yeah.
And don't do that. Don't
No.
do that to your community. Don't do that to your friends.
Right.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, those are your friends, and if you
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
If you screw them over, you're going to be left with one, no friends, and two, no hobby, and three, you now don't have any kind of income or work. So don't do that. Just don't. Like support. Like for me, I get invited to do stuff a lot, or people will be like, "Hey, I've got this project. I don't know who I want to play in this project," and I'm like, "I know the perfect like suggest your friends, uplift your friends, support each other in the hobby, because when you do that, you're more likely to get support from them." So just uplifting other people and supporting your friends, and I mean, I think that's like one of the biggest things that you can do is really just uplift other people and support other people. And then when it's your time to shine, man, you've got all these people that have your back. So
absolutely. And always go ahead, Stefan.
Sorry, I want to say something about that, about the friend thing. Now, I don't know what your situation is. But
not anymore. This is a while back.
I don't know where you come from, but I know where I come from. And sometimes you have to leave where you are to pursue what you want to do in life, because where you grow up or the friends you have, maybe that's not the people that are the people that have the same dream as you. And you have to recognize, I'm not telling everyone should move, but I'm saying that maybe you have to, like, sometimes, like I ended up in Seattle.
Yeah.
I grew up in New York City. You think, how could you leave New York City, most crazy, wonderful city in the world, right? But I got to realize that I like gaming. And I moved to Seattle because all the people that I encountered through gaming, and they were all in Seattle. So I left New York and the people that I grew up with, because they all went in different directions. And I wanted to be around people that did the things that I enjoyed, which is gaming. And through gaming, I've met all these wonderful new people that have become my great friends now, but they're the friends that enjoy the things that I enjoy. They're not the friends that I just was stuck with because they grew up in the same town as me, city, town, whatever. So sometimes, and also speaking about experiences and traveling, it changes your life. Going to live somewhere else expands your consciousness. I just saw Dune, right?
Yeah.
The sleeper awakens, and you go to live somewhere else, and wow, what an experience that is, and pursue your dreams. Sometimes your parents don't even, they like, I don't want you to do that. I want you to be this. And if they don't support you, you got to leave them too. To pursue your dreams, pursue what friends, friends are, most of them are, they're, are they your friends? Or, your friends are the ones that support you and that are the same dreams that you have. These are your friends, not your friends of coincidence,
It's a balance in life too. You got to make the decisions based smart financial and smart social and smart hobby. You got to make them all. It's
figure this things out before you get married and have children.
Well,
because then you're maybe too late for most people. But if you're young out there and you're listening to this and you're very young, hold off on the marriage and the kids and figure out what you want to do with your life, and then hopefully meet a partner, whether it's a man, a woman, or whoever, that shares your dream. then you can get married.
Yeah, I was
But then-
45 when I settled down, so I took that advice.
There you go.
Yeah.
My mother
Yep.
always told me, "Don't get married."
Yep.
My Italian mother.
I was
I got married when I was 50. You must wait.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, I took my time. And
Quick question for
I-
everyone. Quick question for everyone. You okay if we run over time a little bit?
Sure.
I gotta go soon. I gotta.
It's okay. It's okay, Stefan. So we'll do we'll do the last question I'll ask then. Is collaboration. How? Give me some recommendations how to do collaboration with other streamers, other people.
Reach out, send him an email.
Simple communication.
Contact Jay.
Use that
I
social
suggest
media.
anybody who wants to do anything,
Yeah.
contact Jay. No, I'm just kidding.
Go to
conven-
convention.
Exactly. Go
You
to
need people at
conventions.
conventions.
Yes.
Yeah, conventions.
is
Yeah,
the
now that
best.
they're back up and going.
Yep.
If you're talking industry wise, conventions is the way to do it.
Yep.
100%.
Mhm. Conventions.
And out of town. You can
Exactly.
go to your local stuff, and you should go to your local stuff, but spread your wings. Go to you can start small and just slowly go out, but go to different conventions and then start
Yeah,
going to the
man.
larger conventions, stuff like that. For
Mhm.
sure. For sure.
One of my best friends is Peter Atkinson.
Mhm.
You know, the former CEO of Wizard of the Coast. And so I was going to conventions and we would go to parties and we always ended up being like the last two in the bar. You know?
Awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
after parties, we're always like, we ended up being like, hey, it's you again. You know, and eventually we just became close friends because we liked to hang out. And now we're like best friends, you know?
That's awesome.
And
And the
Well,
same.
and that's one of the it's such when you start networking like that, it makes your job goes back to before. If you are thinking about being serious, that's one of the things you have to do. You have to network.
Yep.
You have to network. You have to get to know people because it will make your life so much easier.
my
So much
girlfriend, my sweetheart, you know, we met through, you know, this geeky stuff, Lord of the Rings. He was organizing Lord of the Rings line parties. And I went to them.
easier.
You know, and then we connected years later. We reconnected at a Matt Mercer event in Brooklyn.
Oh, cool.
And I provided the dungeon for Matt Mercer. And I went up on stage to change the dungeon. And she saw me up on stage. She said, "Oh my God, I remember that guy." And so she's outside gardening here. And so like, we reconnected. It's like, well, I've broken up. She's broken up. And suddenly we're both single. And then I saw on Facebook she was dating. I was like, wait a minute. I'm
You took the
and
chance
she's
there.
a gamer.
Yep.
She likes gaming, theater, and gaming. And so now I finally met someone that shares the same things. She's kissing. She's blowing me kisses now.
It's awesome.
Aw.
So cute.
So,
I'm lucky.
to you as well, Stefan, a mutual friend of ours wanted me to say hello. And I met this person on Twitter. He's played in my game, played with Aaron at Greenwood. I met him at GaryCon in person for the first time, and that was Todd Stashwick. Okay? Because so there you go.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, is that another one you want to play with, April? Maybe I can make that arrange too.
Like I said, I've got a long.
Because Todd's an awesome guy too. So yeah, and just make the connection. So the one thing I'll give this as well, because I got 7 sponsors because I'm not bashful in asking, and you have to be willing to hear the word no, which is okay when you're doing collaboration too. I hear it all the time. Rob Kuntz, no, not coming on. Right, Anna? Okay, no problem. We move on. You know,
Yep.
so I've had someone just recently say no to me. We're trying to get this mega show going. I won't go into details, but I was a little disappointed. This person said no, won't do it. But that's what happens, and that's part of life. You know, you got to understand that, and it's okay. It's okay. People have other agendas, other time frames. It's not a big deal because there's a lot of people in the world. There's a lot of people who will collaborate with you. You know, and that's a thing. So
Yep.
whenever you need to go, Stefan, it's okay. Do you want to shout out what your next Kickstarter? What's going on with Dwarven Forge?
I'll be
It's
right back.
coming.
Yeah.
Next Kickstarter. There's always one coming, you know. City Builder 2, maybe. It's coming. You'll find out.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. I know
That's
you.
what I sculpted this for.
Do you have a time frame? Next couple months?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Who
It comes
knows?
when
You
it's
know, with
ready.
everything that's happening in the world, who knows? Like,
Yeah.
Now, Stefan, I try to get some of my really nice setups here. I'm gonna I'm gonna show a couple before you got to depart here. Is that the right screen? Yeah. So I love the old stuff. There you go. How's that?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. So we
Old
got
school resin.
old school resin, but this is a newer piece. This archway across is fairly a newer piece.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Tavern stuff.
Yeah. So I got old and new mixed together here. That's one there, and then we got.
Nice.
I love the old school resin cavern picks. We got some good fights there.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Here's another one. So I love this wall here. I love that's yours too. So trying to get
school.
love this is a mix of old and new here. And you got some of the old trap sets here.
The trap.
I love that stuff. So
it's funny because I didn't sell as much as I thought I would sell, and then it's a trap set, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't tell anyone what was in it. I was like, you can't give it away.
Right. But
so the marketing was like, trust me, you're going to want to buy this, but then
look,
many people wanted to buy it because they know what was in it.
The rolling boulder one is awesome. I use that on my all the time. So and this acid pool one back here, it's great. These are great old school sets. I wanted to share some of that with you. So anything else you'd like to shout out? Let at all. You got any games going on? A question from Gabbin. What do you like to sculpt with? Do you sculpt with clay? What's your favorite go-to? Stefan, when you do sculpting work?
Well, that's for me. That's all. I use monster clay.
Okay, monster clay.
Monster clay. It's not actually clay. It's like a plastiline or some wax. And this is it. This is the monster clay. And it's
right.
It looks like chocolate. People say it looks like chocolate.
That's cool.
People use it in the special effects industry, I think. And that's it.
How many?
Actoroki, Ann is doing Actoroki. Chaldea, the World of Chaldea. We're going to be in Nerd Botchery. We're going to play in Nerd Botchery.
Cool. Awesome.
That's it. Dwarven Forge.
That's it, man. I love it, and I always keep on using it. So just bolt whatever time you have to, Stefan. We're just going to keep on rolling here with some shout outs and giveaways and stuff. But wherever you got to go, it's fine. I completely understand. Yeah.
We have to keep going. It was great.
Thank you,
Stefan.
That was awesome. Thank you so very much.
Watching and everything, and we'll till next time, and maybe we'll get a game together.
We're gonna get a game together. I'm gonna try and get. We'll try and get we'll try and get Ed Greenwood, Luke, Todd, April. We'll try and get the whole group together.
I'm happy to run a Zoom game. I don't like to play, but I'm happy to run one if you want.
I can set the table. I can set the terrain up on my table too while you're running it on the channel. I could have whatever you want. My table's safe.
No, you
want to do yours? Okay.
Set up on my table.
Oh, okay. We can do that too. Oh yeah. Okay. No problem.
Set up on my table.
See, today you have your match.
I got my rival. Yes.
Exactly. You met your rival today. So.
Yeah, I can play.
And works the camera. See, works.
Okay. I can just produce it and play. I can do that at the same time.
If you could just host it, then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
We'll get that worked out. So thank you so very much, Stefan. And thank you, and thank you.
Bye, everybody.
See you. Talk to you soon.
Nice meeting you, Stefan.
Yeah.
So we'll continue here.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yes. So are you two good for a couple more minutes here? We good? April?
Oh yeah.
William, you good? All right. So I didn't want to hold Stefan, because I know how busy and how kind it was for him to come on. So here's a question. Captain Moran asked this early, and I'm going to get to it. And he talked about decks and many things, how they ruin campaigns, which they do in old school. But how often do you use a magic item that ruins a campaign, like a deck or something? I mean, there's portable, like what do you call it? Spheres of Annihilation could ruin camp. There's so many of these items. So it's a very specific question. Who wants to take that one up? It could be a separate game.
My answer is gonna be because of the simple fact that I love decks and many things. I don't think that actually ruins a game myself, but it depends on the type of game you have. If you have one that's very structured, like we were saying before, because like I say, you don't really see people talking about, yes, my players need to be led. I need to railroad. It could definitely throw it off. Don't introduce it if you've got something it's just that simple. If there's ever a possibility it's going to ruin your campaign, don't introduce it. Or if you do and it is used and you think it's going to wreck it, just change the effect. You're the dungeon master.
Mm-hmm.
You could have them use a deck of many things. You could play through it, come back to next session, and start it off with your characters wake up, and you had this awesome dream, and next to you on the floor are a couple of cards, and it's like, wow, I pulled that card. And, you can change it around however you want. You're the DM.
Cool. April, any other?
Yeah, I try not to give them super OP items. I give them really cool stuff. Like I love using supplements like from Cobalt Press. I love using stuff from them, stuff that my players have never seen before that they'll still think's really cool, but not give them super OP stuff. My problem that I sometimes run into, because I want the players to play the characters they want to play, and sometimes that leads them to build characters that themselves are naturally OP. And that's the problem I run into. I let them, I'm like, oh, you want to play this and this? You want to do multi-class into this? Oh, you want to try out this Unearthed Arcana? Okay, yeah, sure. Like I let them, because I'm like, at the end of the day, they're gonna have fun, and I can adjust to where hopefully it's not so boring because they just smash everything with one hit. But that's I just, like you said, I try not to give them stuff that I know is going to be game breaking.
Yeah, Robes of Eyes. No, I gave one of them out and gave some old school. No, I mean there's items I just want. Helms of Brilliance, old school. No.
One of the easiest things you can do in a game is regularly, when you're doing something, if you think for some reason you're uncertain or unsure about how it's going to work out, say that. Say it to your players. Look, okay, I'll do this. I'm not really sure how it's going to work. We might have to wind that back a little bit, and then I'll need you to help me with that. And then people are so much more willing to it's not like you give it to them and then you just pull it out from under them, sort of thing, But
and Anna doesn't give out magic items.
I do, but my players are usually so terrified of them now. So most of they realize that if it's a good item that is really powerful, that they're starting to see what monster is going to come and kill them to try and get it so quickly that they stay away from them. It's like, oh, it must be a trap, so to speak. So yeah.
I started running Ruinous Raven's Rook, right? And so basically I'm using CNC, so old school, right? And basically it is like they got a whole bunch of magical stuff. I gave it to them in this chest, and it's like, well, they didn't have, nobody could identify none of that. I was like, oh, that's all right. Yep. Let's look up here how much they're going to charge you to identify. Yeah, it's just 100 gold per item. Basically, the Wizards guild, they'll hook you up. It's like, well, we can't do that. And the character had a magical mace. They knew it was magical because they had detect magic on it. Then they use it. Of course, that sucker was cursed. It was a berserking thing, and he second episode dead character.
Yeah, I've introduced. There's been 2 artifacts in my campaign already. And they were introduced on the 2nd session and the 5th session. There were 2 artifacts, and the players, when they found one artifact, they ran and dug it down in a hole in the ground very quickly to get rid of it, so to speak. And the other one was the one that was Vakuni, one of the Vakunis, the spell book of Vakunis, his demonicum, so to speak, that his stuff on demons and stuff. That was it. And they handed that over to someone else very, very quickly. Like, we don't even want to touch it. So they took that one away. And then they found a little piece of a little statuette of a dragon that was made out of dragon bone. And they were like, oh, that's terrifying. So they ran and dig that down in a hole in the ground very quickly. So my players I've scared the bejesus out of them from that sense. So they kind of, no, we're not going to try and wield it or use any. They hide it and throw it away very quickly.
You are DM goals for me right now. You're just like,
but you realize you build over time, so to speak. Terror is not in the game mechanics, and it's not in the moment. It is in over time. You build it in. It's in world building. Now they're trapped in a deep cave. IUs is coming in to try to root them out, and they also know that they are the most hunted villains of IUCN in the whole empire right now. and put that together, and then start introducing the abyssal trolls, and you weed them down. It's not about TPK in one session. You weed them down so they have no resources, no
You crush
spells,
their
whatever.
souls.
Exactly. And you weed
My
them down.
gosh.
8 sessions later, they have no ammo, they exhausted, they have no spells, they barely have no food. That's when it gets scary. Not
When you get- when you-
immediate. Yeah.
When you get punished, then you're forced to play an animal.
Exactly. And you tell them, and the thing is that you tell the players now that it's going to get scarier and scarier and scarier. You and then you keep adding it, and just a little bit you talk about it, and you have some rock art that shows other nasty things that will linger on further down, etc., and so on and so forth. You introduce little tidbits and stuff, you sprinkle them out in your campaign, and then you talk about railroading. Now I have them. Now I can push for a few sessions here. And they believe me, they don't want to be railroaded from then on, so to speak. They want to roam freely and do nothing for a few sessions. Yeah, so try and build. The long term is often overlooked in campaigns and in our tabletop role playing. They think that, oh, I want to have like a horror session, and that no, that's something you build in over time, and it's you think of and make the enemy intelligent, not that they can overcome your rules. Don't like, oh, I have a cleric, oh, that means that now I introduce undeads that can't be turned. No, what meaning you the DM, and you can build a world to take 200 undeads that and over time, so the cleric gets overwhelmed and realize that you're talking, I use it so powerful it took over 1/3 of the world. One little cleric that can turn skeletons is not going to be a nuisance. Even the mid-level IUCN priest knows how to deal with them, so to speak. Realize that you as a DM, you have unlimited resources. Don't worry if they go murder hoping. Use that to your advantage, meaning that will piss off enough enemies that they will come with a bigger war band to hunt you down. And so use numbers, use time, and grind them down, so to speak. Get them angry and pissed off, and they won't game anymore. That's when you get, and then you turn the tide around and get them in a position where they can be the murder hobby, where the characters can shine. 5 sessions in, they can realize, damn, we can get to it. Now we know how to do it. And then give them one place where they can go and murder things and slaughter enemies for a while. And like a good movie, you need the setback to give them the it needs to ebb and flow over time. That's the key bit, so to speak.
So true. So true. And you got it, it's a balancing act, right?
Yeah.
Like you got it.
Yep.
You got it. The number
Yep.
one thing I do is I listen to my players' input. So my players have created classes, ideas, antitheses,
Yep.
magic items, spells, all
Mhm.
incorporated into the game. And
Yep.
and I have them helping me now for the grand project, and then I are doing controller games too. So just note that you got to listen to your players. If I didn't
Yep.
listen to my players, I wouldn't have lasted 42 years, right?
Yep.
And then again, there's always fights. I mean, and
Yep.
we've seen some of them live stream. We saw
Oh,
Bill
yeah.
storm out of a game live stream.
Yep.
That's part of the charm. I stream me
And-
playing with my friends on Thursday night. That's what I stream. So
Mhm.
Number one thing for
Yeah.
being a DM or a game master, you never hear talked about ever. Number one thing to having a great table, having a great game, is your players and you and how you work together. You
Mhm.
want to get a great table and want to have great role playing. There's no amount of videos you can watch on that. There's no amount of books you can read. You have to go through and find the people that you enjoy playing with and are like-minded. And you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you can
Yep.
find your prince or your princess.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works. And I'll give you an example. I would go through, when I was doing a lot of streaming, I would run auditions, okay? And I would run, basically, if I were to run 3 auditions of 6 people a pop, I'd get maybe 1 to 2 prospects. So I would run that amount of games. Then I would take the prospects and run another game. And then maybe out of those, I would get 2 to 3, if that, to build a group. So basically, just keep that in mind. You could get lucky. It could happen. You could just fall into a group. My Sunday group that I play with currently, I've been playing with them for over 6 years. Blind luck. I answered an ad on Roll20 and fell into it, and it was just blind luck, and we've been playing the
Yep.
same group for 6 years.
Yeah.
But you have to go through and you have to do that. Once you find your right table, all these other questions that you're asking get answered.
Hmm.
If you're
Yeah.
a high epic fantasy table and everybody likes playing that way, there you go. Now you're getting answers for all those other
Mhm.
questions.
Yeah.
If you like grim, dark, and gritty, and you like character death every other session, there you go. You've got a lot of your answers to that too. It's how
Yeah.
your table thinks and wants to play.
Yeah, and also realize not every gamer likes to play with you if you're a DM, and you as a player don't like to play with the DM, so to speak. It's like going to the movies. You don't like every movie, so pick the ones you like, and also accept that. Meaning, in this campaign, I've had 10 players, and I have 5 of them still in the campaign, and we probably recruit one more, and and I totally accept that. Some of them, they're fantastic players. We had a lot of fun, but they realized it was not really their style. They didn't like my style, and I totally respect that, because I don't like every other style, so to speak. And also, one of the other things is that I like to play in different types of games than I like to run. So I might not even like to play in my own games that much, so to speak. I'm not sure about that really. So it's kind of, yeah, but I run games in a lot of similarities to Tim when he runs his games. I can tell that it's in some ways it's a lot like Tim. It's gritty, not necessarily deadly, but a lot of close. I love when you have combat in a session, when you have a few combats and you have close to TPKs. That is kind of and one of the tricks, and now I'm kind of spilling some beans here, but important thing is that don't nail down your as a DM, I'm going to have all these monsters and they're going to have exactly these stats and stuff. That's something you can tweak during combat. Meaning, and also don't hold all the cards and then just have a huge ambush and say, oh, I have 10 orcs, they're going to ambush them in this spot, so I get all the technical advantage that the game rules can say. No, that's no fun. What you do is that you try to make something that sounds reasonable, looks reasonably realistic from the standpoint, and you have 6 orcs coming out testing the characters first. And if the orcs have successful, then you swarm them with the rest, so to speak. and you kind of do it. And then if the players are still successful, then the orc tribe gets really pissed and they get the 200s that have been waiting around, and one of the orcs is tooting a horn. And if the players don't get the message, all the other orcs are coming to jump. And also try to think from the enemy's perspective. If goblins live in a dungeon, they will not have 2-3 goblins in each room as a mouthpiece. They will have a dedicated kill zone in the beginning where all the 200 orcs can hit the players all at once. So the players have to go in there and figure out a way to simply weed them down over time. Think about if the orcs have survived so long, that means that their defenses must be strong enough to withstand others assaulting them, so to speak. So try to figure out how it works in real world, because I want to have little cool goblins that are nagging little evil ones that goes out do things, but I have to figure out how could goblins survive in my world of Greyhawk, and that means that they have some hidden secrets, so to speak, and that's the kind of thing. Try to and use the meaning you have as many goblins as needed. Meaning you can always invent a few more, so to speak. So don't limit yourself, but think about it in portion size, so to speak. And also don't be afraid of throwing the kitchen sink sometimes at the players and scare the bejesus out of them to realize that fleeing is also an option. Yeah.
So for me, I like to be a recurring antithesis.
Yeah.
That's my big thing in my games, and I attempt to have multiple ones. Don't waste an antithesis by killing them off the first adventure they meet them. You got to find there's ways out easily, whether it's contingency spells, teleporters, gaseous forms, whatever. Yeah, you want recurring antitheses are very good for really throwing up against parties. So all right. Anyone? April and Will, neither of you asked a question. Is there a question you'd like to ask of everyone else before we wrap this up?
When do we get to play in Altamira?
Well,
you
that's
can't talk about that.
no. Did you watch
Oh,
the
you
Fantasy
can't?
Mapping Show Friday night? Anna showed all the
No,
work
I
she's
did
done.
not.
Showed all the work she did for Altamira
Well,
already.
I will
Yep.
have to put that in my.
So we are looking. We're hopeful to have something ready and out to go at some point for Gary Con next year.
Nice.
That's the
Yep.
goal.
Yep.
Oh, thank you very much, Tom. Yeah. So
But if you're looking for a couple of pieces of art, I would be more than.
that would be awesome, man. Yes,
Yes.
thank you. We have another meeting with Troller Games coming up. So note that we talked about this.
Tell Chuck I want my codes.
Yeah, well, I say to him, he's got another family issue that came up last night,
Aw.
and So I haven't talked to him. I talked to him for about 10 seconds today. So to answer Will's question, we got stuff going on. We're working on stuff. We're working on stuff that is bigger than I ever imagined. That's all. I've said it to a couple people on the industry. Mike, it's gonna be CNC, but it may be something else too. We're working on it. We're trying to get connection. We have a connection to a company that begins with W. So we're working on some things. So that's all I'll say. Things are going well.
It begins with W.
Yes.
Mhm.
Whisper it to me later.
I think you know. It ends with a C. So yeah, last words with a C. So there, we're working on some stuff. We're going for it. We're going for the gusto on this one. Yep. April, questions for anyone?
Maybe biggest panic moment for you as a DM. where
Wow.
you're like, "Oh, crap, I don't know what to do." Like, I'm just curious. Like,
That's a good one.
biggest panic moment.
That's a real good one. So
Might be a hard one to answer.
no, I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Every time I have someone on, and it's a minor panic. New people who've never played in my game, like last Saturday, minor. But when I had Ed Greenwood on for the first time playing in my game, I was like, oh my God, I have the guy who made Forgotten Realms playing in my freaking Greyhawk game. I'm going to fuck this up, right? I mean, that's my biggest panic moment in the last year was.
It definitely wasn't Luke, because he was telling Luke that he was doing it right.
Exactly. Yeah. Luke, he just like, oh no, that's not how it works, and it was Luke's own spell, so to speak. So yeah.
Yes.
I don't care if the spell's named after
Yeah.
your character or not.
Exactly. It was.
You can't do it.
Yes. Well, it's range. You can't.
Melf's acid arrow was named after Luke's character, and Jay said,
Oh.
no,
You can't shoot at 300 feet. At the range of
Yeah.
60 feet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can't shoot at a football field length. Sorry.
That was
In the book.
awesome. He just told him, it was like no
Yeah.
question. It was like nope.
Yep.
It's
Nope.
in the book.
Nope. Yes.
That was
That was
funny. Yeah.
comical. Man, that was like,
Yep.
believe it or not, that was like 2 full years ago that happened.
Yep.
So
I-
yeah, that was
Wow.
my highest panic moment. In the game, April. It's like old. I don't recall too many. I don't like getting into fights with my friends at the table live on live stream. So maybe that too. And that happens like once a year. Something. There's a blow up of some sort. But that's what I stream. I stream me playing with my friend, and so it's real life. So it's not super theatrical, and that's what happens. So those two things. Anna, Will, you
Well,
answer?
yeah, a long time ago, I had two players who started hating each other. They've been good friends, and they started hating each other. During the game. That was kind of terrible to try and mediate who didn't know what to do and whatnot. That was, yeah. So that was that. And my advice: don't run evil campaigns. That's
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Meaning, don't run evil players. Don't have that as the motivation for the campaign.
I can't really think of. I got a lot of.
I got one for you.
things.
I got one
For
for
me?
you. Yeah, that happened when you got
Oh, you're
told.
talking about.
It was the salt marsh thing when you're out because someone doesn't like spiders. Yeah, when you got thrown off another channel.
Oh.
Yeah. It was so ridiculous.
It wasn't really spiders, but
Well-
essentially, there was a lot of presumptuations about
Yeah.
something, and basically,
Yeah, it was bad.
it was personal. It was a personal thing. That's
This
all I
happened
can-
almost 3 years ago, everyone. Just note that, okay? It happened about 3 years ago. I felt so bad for him. It was a great game,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
It was a great game.
I
It
had
was-
one.
So we redid it on my channel.
Yep.
So it's
Absolutely.
You know, the thing about it. Okay, so now that you bring it up, the thing about it is we were invited to do that.
Yes, you were.
They headhunted us, brought us in to do it, and then we're doing it, and then it's like something happens. Actually, nothing happens. It's a perceived, and somebody started saying something, and then stoke the fires, and it's like, well, that grognard's gotta go. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I guess.
So yeah, April went through some drama too. We don't need to go into details, and that was really bad, right?
Yeah.
And that should just note, it's not a picnic here in the Twitch world ever.
Yeah.
There's always, yeah. I'm just so glad you bounced, but a lot of you bounced back.
If you ever want to find out what it really was about, all I gotta say is go back and watch some of the Salt Marsh content on Atomic Peanut Butter Group on YouTube, because you know who didn't keep his mouth? Adam. Serious trash.
Exactly. While
he kept poking me, trying to get me to talk trash. I'm like,
yeah.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've escaped the drama mostly, Gitano, but there's been some.
Yeah, I never really understood the fact that some players have, when you play things, that you can experience things in game that makes you feel like you want to have the X card and say quit that. But me as a DM, I ran into that when after the Ukraine war just started, and in my campaign I used coming after them with everything he had, so to speak. And to me, that didn't feel appropriate at all. I felt queasy about it, and I didn't want to depict all evil empire coming to trash the whole countryside, so to speak. And so I had to cancel. For 2 weeks, I said, no, we're not going to play. So it took 2 weeks for me to kind of get over it and get into it. And that was me getting queasy. That's probably the last thing that happened. And that was for me as a DM. I felt like, no, my own game was haunting me in a way that I didn't like. I wanted to have the inspiration to do it. And I just felt disgust over it, so to speak, at first. Now I'm back in the game again and feel like it's fun. But that was a little bit, so now I can totally understand if players have whatever it's fear of spiders or they've experienced violence or something in real life, and there's something that touches it in your game. So I can totally understand that. So I might be introducing all sorts of horrorful whatever in my campaign, but I can totally understand if a player said, no, that's too much, then we have to cut it. So just because you're a tough DM doesn't mean that you should be tough against the characters, never against the players. And that's one other rule. Give the players agency. The players have to have a maneuvering room as players. Never box them in, so to speak. You can and always give them a way up, and always inform a little bit. That's part of the fun. Inform a little bit what's going on, so to speak. Don't fool the players into the characters into a situation they can never get out of, so to speak. I don't think that's fun. They should know that these caves are scary and going to probably kill the characters, and then willingly step in there, so to speak. I think that's the part. Yeah.
That goes back to what I was saying before about your party, not your party, your group. Be sure to your group of players should be comfortable enough that anybody can bring something up and say to anybody else.
Yeah.
That's where it's always that. It's so important to know your group, find a good group.
Yep.
And then all that stuff comes out in the wash, and everything's great. This way, if somebody goes, "Yeah, man, I don't really like that," and it's not a big deal. Everyone's like, "Okay."
Yeah. And your job, and your job as a DM is to get the characters into trouble, but it's also equally much to help the characters get out of trouble. Meaning they have to have allies and friends and positive surprises too. Meaning it should be a harsh world, but the evil doesn't run the world, at least not in my campaign, which means that there might equally a lot of good stuff in the world. And if the characters are played to be portrayed to be good dudes in the world, that means that they should have backing by other good creatures of various kinds in the world too. So you can throw in good surprises as much as bad surprises. So I think that's important.
So I hope that everyone's enjoyed this so far. It's been great discussion.
Oh yeah.
We've run about a half hour late, so I was very thankful for Stefan for hanging in there for the full 2 hours.
That was
That was very
wonderful.
kind of him. So why don't we do some shout outs here, see what everyone's got going on, and we'll do the giveaway, and then we'll see who's on from there. Does that sound good for everyone? Yeah, we'll wrap this up a little bit there. So maybe a wrap up on the discussion, maybe what you got out of it, you know. So we'll start with Will. Will, what would you like to say in wrapping up, and what would you like to shout out?
No, I just have fun coming here all the time. So it's like anytime I get to come on the show, I enjoy myself. So it's all friendship here as far as I'm
Absolutely.
concerned. So, of course, well, I heard about this Kickstarter. You know what I want to talk about? Raven's Rook, the Blackwing City of Bandits and Brigands, inspired by Rook Roost from Greyhawk. It is a urban city supplement for grimdark or grittier type of fantasy role playing. It is agnostic, but there's stats in there for first, second edition, and fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons. So if you play any of those editions, you can. But the only time that any of that comes up is in the monster section. Everything else is system agnostic. You can use it for whatever. So we've got, I think, 7 more days is the total count that we have right now, and we're basically
almost there.
$125 away or something like
Very
that.
close. Very close.
So yeah. So if you want to, we would appreciate it if you could come over and get yourself a PDF, or if you just want to swing, like pitch $5 at it because you said, hey, we like what you're doing, you can do that too. There's that options on there. So
and it's
all funds received.
It is. Let's be clear. It is a sterilized Greyhawk City. Okay, that just can't be published under the Greyhawk name. So note, it is in the Bandit Kingdoms. It is a Greyhawk City that exists. All right. So note, you're getting Greyhawk content out of this. So for everyone there. So hopefully,
This was taken directly out of all of my write-ups that were done from the Return to the Bandit Kingdoms campaign, which was centered in and around Rook Roost. And so I took all that and then I fleshed it out in the blog. And then when I fleshed it out in the blog, I was like, well, let's just pull some of this IP out. And then voila, Raven's Rook.
Yep. And it looks fantastic from all we can see. And I'm excited to get it. So
thank you for being Johnny on the spot with that too, Antiquitous. I appreciate it.
Yes.
It made my life easy.
Definitely. So. Absolutely. Alex is great. All the mods here are great. It's a great community. And Will, thank you for coming on. I should track how many it's been. Course. How many DMs round. It's got to be 7 or 8 out of 11. Because I know you weren't in for the all woman one, obviously.
True.
And the last one I know, and maybe one before that. I think it's either 7 or 8 out of 11. So.
I still hold the record.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do.
But this time, this was fantastic.
And you were on the.
To let it be known, I've known Jay the longest.
Yes.
Everybody in the streaming community.
Yep.
Absolutely. It was us two and the other channel that imploded back then. So back in the days when there weren't 500 streamers on a Saturday night. We're only 50. Yeah.
Just 50.
April.
Yeah. You can find me at stiletto_assassin on Instagram, stiletto DM on Twitter. What were you gonna ask?
I was just gonna say, did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I cried on screen.
That's awesome.
Happy tears though, because just overwhelmed because it was just really refreshing. I'm tearing up again. Gosh dang it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it was just really refreshing getting to hear different perspectives that I've never heard before, passionate perspectives about these games that we play. So it was really impactful for me and really refreshing and really beautiful. So awesome. I was so happy to be able to be a part of that and get to hear you firsthand. So.
And I always look for feedback after games, and I just want to tell you that I had a lot of people go, April was fantastic, and you gotta have her back on. So just note you will be getting invites back on, and Absolutely. You're more than welcome. It was awesome. Gotta see if we can figure out building up a new group from those players. I think we won't have any problem doing that. So
That's fun.
yeah, thank you so very much for coming on. And I know you got the initiative order, and you also have Modifius, and I put that link in because you have one more session with Jason Charles Miller. And how do you say how do you say her name?
Utayeme. Her real name's Brianna DeCoster.
Okay.
But yeah, Utayeme, she's fantastic. Her and Alicia Marie. And I'm going to be playing. I won a bid for Jasper's Game Day to play with them for Jasper's Game Day live stream. So I'm going to be playing with my friends again there.
That's awesome.
Fun.
Fantastic. Yep. Just let us know what channel you're going to be on, and we'd be more than happy to, shout out that fundraiser when it comes. Is it all? I know there were multiple bids. So I know Todd Stashwick's DMing one of them. I
know there were so many people that I was like, I want to bid on all of these, but I have this much money.
Right.
So, and plus it's not fair to try to get every table. That's
right.
Just not fair. You don't win everybody. But I saw my friends were playing and I was like, you know what? I want to play with them because Jasper's Game Day holds a special place in my heart, with suicide awareness and prevention in the gaming space. So it was just, and plus the initiative order, we're ambassadors for Jasper's Game Day. So it just made sense to, donate some money to be able to play with them.
Well, thank you so very much for coming on.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Anna.
And
yes, sir. Go ahead.
Jay, $48.
Oh, so you got
$48
right,
away.
So you just got 250s because I checked about 10 minutes ago. It was 123. So you got 250s just now. Whoever did that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And you can say you did in chat. Yep. All right.
Yep. Fully funded.
Oh, awesome.
Awesome. That's great.
Oh,
man.
thank you, Wiley. Appreciate
you,
it.
You passed it. Yep, you passed
it. That's good. That's good. You got over it. You're
passed it.
You're good. You're funded.
Look at that. You're now even more. So
all right.
Good.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, community. Wonderful. Now
Thank you. Appreciate it very much, everybody.
Yeah. It's going to be a wonderful publication. Absolutely.
Yep.
Very
Looking
cool
forward
to hear. Wow. Excellent. So Anna, what's up?
I said a lot of it on Friday, so I'm not going to repeat too much. But it's the 58098 map is ramping up, so there will be a new 2022 edition of that one, and the atlas is kind of getting finished. There will be the title page, the cover, and the legend and all that coming out. So there will only be the index left to do on the 576 atlas. And of course, I've gotten so into heraldry. I've been doing more heraldry, and I also have some ideas. And we talked about collaboration before. I'm going to invite and nag Gary Julian because I have some ideas for Death Knight heraldry. So that's the So I have ideas. Gary and me have talked a little bit about it. So that's something I have some ideas for stuff because I did the ones, a couple of them already, and when you get them done in this style, that's kind of cool. So now I have some even more ideas. So I'm going to pitch some ideas to Gary and Julian, and we can see what we can do from there. So that's one other little pet side project that I'm working on as well. And then we have Altamir is on Friday, and so that is now underway, and there's a couple of other projects too that I'm going to do, and new cool software is coming out. So, and streaming will be, I will start doing my setup seems to work. So now I'm going to start testing it on Twitch and on YouTube next week, and we'll see if I can start twitching next week, so to speak, and see if that works. So that's the short one. And again, thank you for everyone who supported me and used my maps and stuff. I'm just amazed.
All-time high for your Patreon, right?
Yes, all-time high. I was up to 340. Now I'm down to 330 again. It always dips a little bit around the
beginning of the month.
End of the month, the end and the beginning of the month. But I've never been this high before, so I'm just blown away. Yeah, so it's super cool.
So I don't remember which of the two, button 13 or 14, which one does Tim cutting a tongue out or going to the main screen. So I'm gonna
we'll find out.
We're gonna find out. And if I show Tim again, everyone could get a joke out of it, right? Mm-hmm. This is not real, everyone. Someone was like, "Oh, that's good." Oh, I was wrong. It is Tim. There you go, Tim.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Enough of this shit. Give him the tongue. Thanks for the lick.
That's his daughter, by the way. He did it with. Sorry, the mongrels of the putrid tongue. We will have them. We'll put them in an adventure shortly. Oh, that would be good for the next Slav Squad squad. I try and cut some of their tongues out. Wouldn't that be nice? I may.
Oh.
I'm mind gaming everyone right now. So yeah. All right. Wednesday night. I have 5 streams in 5 straight days. All right. Next week we're going to do 3. When the normal Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. So Wednesday, Clerks and Priests of Greyhawk, another great topic. Should be a fun one. Can you play the bad guys, please, Tim? Maybe, because you get a little out of hand when you're on the bad guy side, min-maxing stuff. So we'll see. Having Tim as the bad guy, then I lose my creative control, right? But Tim's a little. No, we'll talk, Tim. If you want to come over that night for that may be a good idea. So Rigby. All the big ones in Greyhawk City. We'll talk on that end. Oh yeah, okay. You like that, Curtis? You like this topic? Good, excellent. So that would be Wednesday. Thursday, we finish up session number 952, which is whoops. Let me take this down. Which we finish up. The Sisters Calling. We're going to find out what is going on with these albino elf/Sulis mixed breeds that have all this undead rummaging throughout the Sus and into the Principality of Ulick. That'll finish that up Thursday. Reaper Miniatures giveaways that night. So everyone know what this is. This is the 1983 box set. Does everyone know who is the editor for this?
Mr. Winters?
Who is on next Sunday's Gabbin.
Woohoo.
Okay, so we got a legend who has never been on before, Steve Winter. Where it took a while to get him. He also is the author of Temple, Tower, and Tomb, by the way. Okay, that adventure. And some other stuff. So come with your questions ready for Steve Winter on this one. Thank you. It's going to be a huge show as far as
going to give that box set away during this show?
Hell no.
Oh, come on.
It was a wrapped.
No.
Wrapped original.
No, this one's not shrink wrapped.
I would actually enter into that one.
Oh,
no, I'm not. No, cuz how's that? No, that's not one of my giveaways. No, I'll give away as many of these as I have, these Best of Dragon Volume 3s, but there's certain things in my collection that don't get given away.
Wait 10 years and we'll pay your mortgage to
yes.
give that away. Yeah.
So that'll and then the next big thing out, and we have our multiple streams a week, is the next big game is Saturday evening, May 21st, 2 drink minimum. There, no good deed. ... That's the name of the adventure. All right, our special guest is Alyssa Faden. We just asked her after the cartography show Friday night. I said, "Hey, Alyssa, you want to play in the group with Ed?" I never played with Ed. There you go. So Tony Winslow, Brill, Eric Boyd, and Eric Mengi. That group continues on, and we'll see where that one goes. That'll be a fun one. And I'm looking the Slav Squad the week after Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to try and get the Slav Squad a game. So first weekend in June, I think, is the target date for them. Got a lot of stuff going on. There's only so many Saturday nights I can tie up to special events if I don't want to get thrown out of my house. Right? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, actually not though. No. All right. That's what's going on. Let's do the giveaways, all right? Last call. Remember, we got 2. First one will be this, okay? First one will be this. I will ship this anywhere. All right? This one, I would prefer to ask Continental U.S., and if you win, you're outside there. I'll figure out something else gift certificate-wise, okay? Sound good? Can you relink the Kickstarter link there, Alex, please? Someone asked. It's casually asked for that. It's the best one ever. It's got Len Lakofka. It's got the Wing Folk. It's got such wonderful things in there. The Archer class, especially. All right, I'm going to close this out. Thank you, Stefan. I got you, and I'll re-up your VIP badge for 2 weeks. Jay's going to hit wrong buttons. Okay. Here we go. Thank you all for the wonderful support. As always, we are cranking. We're going to keep it going. Not to brag, but we are in the top 15 of all D&D streams in the world in viewer hours watched. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate it.
Wow.
Yes. That's some big streams, too. So really appreciate it. Winner, Fraley. Man, Fraley's on a freaking roll. Fraley, you on to claim? Are you on to claim, Miss Fraley? I want to see his name say, I am here. Yes. All right, I got your address, Fraley. Fraley, Gratz.
Rigged. No, it's awesome.
GD TRFB 1995 with the minis.
Awesome.
You got it, GD. I will send this to you. I have a couple surprises too. By the way, we have brand new colored purple Lord Gazamba shirts with the logo polos coming out. Once I have them, once I wear one, I will have extras to give the community. You know, just I need to be able to ship them out at cost there with shipping. I'll get with everyone who wants one. I got all different sizes coming. I got to get them to my guys and all. So let's raid. We're gonna raid into Bones because I raided into Darling Thursday. Normally it's I'll raid into Bones tonight. A member of the Slav Squad and the new recruits as well. So April, thank you so very much. I am so it was great. You were wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, no. I love doing this. So this is fun.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Can't wait to have you in some future games too, as well.
Yeah.
Will, thanks.
Thank you.
Congrats on the
Appreciate
Kickstarter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I'm glad that we could do that all here.
That was wonderful.
Yeah. That
This
was
is
so cool.
This is the community I wrote it for.
Mm-hmm.
I know, absolutely, and
that's what makes it so much sweeter that it hit its goal here while I was on the show. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Anna,
Yeah,
thank you
Will.
as always, and I'll
Thank
see
you,
you
Jay.
Wednesday
Yep.
night for a great Legends and Lore. All right, let's raid into Bones. Sit tight, please. Just say hello and give her a follow if you haven't. I know Darling's a little ahead of her, and I want to keep them kind of level here. All right, see you all Wednesday night. Got a couple days off. Thank you, and remember, it doesn't matter what edition you play, as long as you play D&D and enjoy it with your friends. That's all that matters. See you soon. All right, let me set the raid up. Boom, 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 boom. Match. Raid. Jay always hits wrong buttons. I always do. And this time
you
it
have
is.
an emote for that too.
right.
Yeah, I do. That's why I have it.
Yep. The wrong button emote. And it's tuna fish sandwich emote.
Yeah, the tuna fish sandwich.
And a turtle emote. Yep.
Yeah, we got to get some. We got to get a Saint Anna emote, and we got to get a Murloc emote too. That would be a good one too. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see you all Wednesday night. Have a good weekend. Rest of the weekend. 83. Nice. Really cool. All right, let me go to here. Let me make sure it went.